Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, no longer in Los Angeles, California. My name is BrianEngelman. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, and this is a place where I have a mute button, which came in handy for that sneeze. And this is, try this again, the TNAM Daily Show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed. Thank you all for joining me today. Please share the link, send out a text, put it on Facebook, send it out on X. Say, hey, join us while we unpack the news. And that's actually what I'm doing now that the stream is up. I'm tagging all these Facebook groups: the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show, TNAM Humor, TNAM Fake News, TNAM Preparedness. And I'm going to say join our live daily show right now. There we go. Let's send this out on Facebook. Hit like, hit subscribe, and jump into the comments, would you? On today's episode, we're going to be discussing whether or not the first arrest is going to shock the world. Is that a thing? I mean, the calls are growing to bring Obama in. This is not a one-off event. This is a multi-year RICO investigation for treason, staging a coup to remove the sitting president, to prevent and spy on the candidate, then to remove the sitting president, to sabotage his entire term, then to frame him and try to get him expelled. Was it which amendment were they trying to push? They were trying to say there was an insurrection. It was never an insurrection. That was their plan. That's what they were pushing. We're going to go over, we're going to march peacefully and patriotically. Insurrection. You know, all those Republicans showed up and didn't fire a single shot. Totally an insurrection. It was a mostly peaceful protest. And then some people did some things. Then they tried to lawfare Trump to keep him from running to win a third term. Many people believe that 2020 was delivered to Joe Biden, and he seized control for 4 years and ran us into the ground. Referencing that Stephen Colbert video where Barack Obama's talking about, if I could have a third term, from the basement, I think I could do that. And that's what this has been about. Step after step, year after year, crime after crime, Clapper, Comey, Brennan, Obama. This has been a monstrosity of a decade and a half, nearly 2 decades now since Obama entered the scene. And the calls are growing to bring him in on a subpoena, saying, oh, no, he's covered under presidential immunity. Well, if you're committing treason, you're allowed to commit treason if you're president? Or you're allowed to correct that? Because the current president is calling out all the criminality. We're going to find out, but the calls are growing. Will anything happen of substance to Barack Obama and the criminal cartel? Tulsi Gabbard also releases information about the MLK files. What have we learned? Hunter Biden comes out and, well, he spills the tea. He speaks. What do we glean from that? Also, Pam Bondi may be set to talk with Ghislaine Maxwell. Could we possibly trust what comes from that? Can we possibly trust anything with the Epstein investigation? Oh, I don't know, but we're going to unpack it all on today's episode of the TNAM Daily Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree Show. That's the name of the podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast, the Agree to Disagree Show, on Spotify and Apple, all the podcast places. Let's launch today's program now.
your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
So happy you could all be here with me today as we unpack the news. Please hit like, hit subscribe, the places you can follow us. The New American Media, scrolling at the bottom of your screen, is on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, D Live, and YouTube. Search the New American Media. YouTube, we have 14 years of content. It's got to be really close to 2,000 videos at this point. Sports and entertainment, current events, politics, preparedness, all sorts of topics. Gardening. I mean, take a look at the page, look around, and subscribe. We are on X at American_media_. That is one of the best places to connect with us. And if there's any stories you want us to talk about, drop it in the comments and or tag us. If you have a story that you found on X, tag us at American_media_. Say, hey, can you cover this? Oh, I won't always, but I'll take a look. Quite often, I'll take a look. And if it's something that fits into the show, we will try to incorporate that. Your comments will also be incorporated into the show, so drop them on the side, however you are watching. Hello, Patriot Warrior Texas in Rumble. Hello, Nick Adams in Rumble. Yes, Rumble is an alarm came through on Rumble, and I was in the middle of I was making my O face. Everything paused. That was weird and funny. Yeah, welcome to everybody on Rumble. The whole Rumble situation is as such. We do have Rumble rants where people can donate that way. And if you let the advertisements play, it's like tossing a penny in the wishing well. So thank you to everybody on Rumble. We had to do that because YouTube took our monetization away. So thank you to everybody on Rumble who sends the Rumble rants and lets the advertisements play. But yeah, connect with us on multiple platforms. It's very important, more now than ever. Patreon, look, should we get discontinued from every social media company overnight, we will still be on Patreon. And thank you to all of our monthly subscribers. Some of you can donate $5 a month, $15 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month. It all helps. And with enough donors, like that changes everything about the program. So thank you to all of you. And then scrolling at the bottom of the screen is the tip jar for Venmo and Cash App. That's just my name, Brian, ENGELMAN, Brian Engelman. And then on PayPal, fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com is the email to enter. Because it's weird because you couldn't put @fuzzinstallment to make a PayPal tip jar donation. Someone was recently trying to, and they couldn't. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but fuzzinstallment@yahoo is the PayPal. All right. Thank you all for being here. Let's jump into the news, and let's get the comments up on the screen, by the way. There we go. We'll do it this way. There's Deb, not from San Francisco. Hello, hello. You're watching, which interview were you watching with Anomaly and I? I can't even, I don't remember how many videos we've done together. We did a long sit down during the Republican primary of 24. We did content at NAM. We did content at Politicon. We did content at Conscious Life Expo. And we filmed segments for him for some Man on the Streets as well. And that's kind of the fun thing when you're out in the field. That is the fun thing when you're in the field. I was in DC in January for the inauguration, and I was filming segments for another journalist. Like a lot of us, like we partner up, and it's like, well, who's going where, and can we share transportation? Can we get an Airbnb and each get a room, and we'll all do our own thing and work? Like we did that in Chicago. We did that in Milwaukee. Milwaukee was a little different, but Chicago, yes. DC was a little different both times. Milwaukee was a little every city's a little different, but yeah, I mean, he helped me film stuff, and I helped him film a segment for info. Like we were doing a live hit, and I was the videographer. But yeah, I mean, it's like you help each other make content. What do you want to? I'll do that. Sure, I'm standing here. I'll help you. I'll be the videographer. Oh, you want to? Let's do them. I don't know. It's just fun. So which one? Oh, the one from 2 years ago, the long sit down. Any good takeaways from that interview? That was in Anaheim. I wasn't planning on attending, and AJ's like, dude, you coming out? You can be here? I'm like, I wasn't really planning on it. That was a fun trip. And then on the flight back, it went from Anaheim to Vegas, and I had a layover for a while. So that was like this whole long day of festivities and hanging out. It was a long layover, Vegas layover. And then as I was getting ready to hop on the plane, finally playing the slots, hit the thing, and bam, paid for the flight back home. I was like, hey, all right. Or actually for the round trip. So it was like, all right. You know, they're not giving out hotel rooms for free, and it definitely added up. But yeah, I love what I do. I love going out into the universe and participating in this. But yeah, to make it a full-time endeavor, it's a full-time endeavor for sure, which requires full-time financing. Has Nimbus had his coffee yet? Well, he's had breakfast and early lunch, so maybe he'll be napping for a while. That's our Nimbus check. Both sitting at a conference table across from each other, casual wear. You're just getting started. Okay. Yeah, that was actually that was AJ's room. He had a seating area off to the side, couch, chairs, coffee table. Is it the Marriott or the Hilton? One of the big ones right there at the convention center. All right. Let's talk about what's going on in the news. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the link to your friends, and drop your comments in chat. Let's go through what's happening here. If you follow the New American Media on Instagram, it's probably a good thing. We also have another page called TNAM Official, TNAM. I think there's dots after the TNAM, TNAM Official. That's just more for news. But yeah, we're going to cover all those stories we talked about. Also, Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away. That sucks. I mean, Theo Huxtable. We grew up watching that, right? America's Family. Then he was doing that show, The Resident, and he got to play the cool guy. Everybody wants to play the cool guy at some point. I mean, if you can pull it off. He could pull it off. It was like a House kind of character. It's like, you know, I'm super smart and I know everything and I'll figure it out. And really sad to see that. But we'll cover that as we unpack the news. All right, let's start with Nick Sorter here. President Trump has made himself clear. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden must be prosecuted for their role in the Russia collusion hoax. The clock is ticking, Bondi. Trump says Obama himself manufactured the Russia hoax. Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe, and numerous others participated in this. The crime of the century, irrefutable evidence, a major threat to our country. Matt Van Swall says if there are no arrests for these crimes, the people committing crimes will continue doing so. Justice demands accountability. Without justice, we do not have a society. We need to see arrests now. Nick says, without arrests, we may as well throw in the towel. We don't have a country any longer. Now it's just a matter of what's going to happen and when will it happen. Gentry Geevers puts out here, newly declassified files from the DOJ show that James Comey and Obama's FBI did not adequately investigate the Hillary Clinton email scandal. At the same time, taking the debunked, I mean, you could say debunked, but I mean, it was a political hit. It was a political assassination. It was Trump was being framed, obviously. It's not just debunked. It's so much more than debunked, but fine. Taking the debunked Trump-Russia Steele dossier lies at face value. It's all coming out now. We knew this, and it's being proven over and over. The Comey FBI's negligent approach and perhaps intentional lack of effort in the Clinton investigation and that was, how many of us were screaming about that? Like, what are we doing? One side gets away with everything, with bloody murder. And the other side, you invent hoaxes to take them out. How can the entire government be so one-sided, lopsided, in favor of the deep state Democrat Party that only has 19% approval? Lack of effort, intentional lack of effort in the Clinton investigation, in stark contrast to its full-throated investigation of the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, which was based on the uncorroborated and now discredited Steele dossier, Senator Chuck Grassley said. Obama's deep state legacy is all going on record now. Tim Young puts out, it's interesting, huh? Biden staffers, when he was in office, quote, he's sharp as a tack, end quote. Biden staffers, now that they're under oath in Congress, we're going to plead the fifth. And for all the people that say Barack Obama can't be arrested, oh, really? Obama can't be arrested? Really? You arrested all of the Trump team. All of them. Okay, maybe not all of them, but look at all of them. You're telling me for legitimate crimes, you can't actually arrest the perpetrators? Yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. Oh, there's statute of limitations. Are there, though, for ongoing RICO conspiracies? When did the deep state treasonous acts stop? Have they stopped? Whether it's Butler or on a golf course, or, there hasn't really been much of a mounted effort this term to take Trump out. Partially because it wouldn't have worked. But when does the statute of limitations run out? Regardless, let's let the lawyers fight that out. But like this, look at this. Look at what they did. Look at the arrests that they made. Yeah, don't tell us Obama can't be arrested. You started it. And if we don't defend this nation, this is going to be the standard moving forward. This cannot be the standard moving forward. You have to arrest and indict and jail the people that committed treason. To use phony FISA warrants to spy on the entire Trump team, to then concoct a plan to frame Trump for Russian collusion, to get him impeached, to get him removed from office. Then to frame him for an insurrection after the debacle that you pushed as a totally safe and secure 2020. Wink, wink. Yeah, come on, man. I totally got 81 million votes. Just ask Hunter. 81 million. How about that, Barack? You replaced me with Kamala. You know the thing. Don't tell us Obama can't be arrested. You're damn right he can be. By the way, follow 300 Guns. It's a good account. Post nice memes. This is Mike Davis talking about Barack Hussein Obama. How serious is this? Well, Mike Davis lays out the case that presidential immunity is not going to help Barack Hussein Obama.
Obama be able to claim presidential immunity on this? Can you claim presidential immunity if you're committing a crime?
He might be able to claim presidential immunity for his actions while he was the president of the United States, and they'll have to litigate that, right? That it's unclear whether he'll ultimately get presidential immunity for this, but I'll tell you this, it's an ongoing criminal conspiracy, and presidential immunity covers his actions while he's the president of the United States. They don't cover his actions when he's the former president of the United States. And when he's participating in the cover-up of this conspiracy, then he doesn't have presidential immunity. I would say to Barack Hussein Obama, lawyer up, buddy, because your conspiracy after you left the White House could land you in prison.
We're waiting, Mike. We're waiting for those days, and we're ready to rock. Will Barack Obama be...
Yeah, I'm going to put drop the hammer button. Yeah, you don't get presidential immunity for treason. You get thrown in Alcatraz. Forgive me, but I'm a little optimistic for the first time in a little bit. George Papadopoulos has been vindicated. It's on Stinchfield.
Bradley, first and foremost, I'd like to thank DNI Gabbard because of it took a lot of courage.
Papadopoulos has had his name dragged through the mud, and anybody affiliated with Trump was targeted for destruction. This is something you just cannot let stand. You cannot let this go. We were all targeted. We were all harmed in this. Anybody who was opposing the deep state tyranny of Biden, Harris, Obama, and the deep state tentacles reaching everywhere. And by the way, kudos to Nick Adams and Patriot Warrior for doing the Rumble thing and for doing the YouTube thing, bouncing back and forth. Lake Leon there saying, howdy from the lonely Rumble side. Wah, wah. I'll say, you mean the awesome side. Yeah, I mean, I've been begging for a YouTube alternative. I was in talks to make a site like YouTube 6 years ago. It's nice that Rumble has solidified as an alternative. It might not be a preferable place. Maybe not everybody wants to comment over there. But I'll tell you what, I feel safer there than trying to hitch my wagon to YouTube and Google. I feel safer than relying too heavily on Instagram, Facebook, Meta. I feel way more comfortable having a presence on Rumble. So, hello, David Bann. By the way, someone ought to do a wellness check on Kenneth. Haven't heard from Kenneth in a minute. I know usually Mondays and Tuesdays his schedule is different. I think he works in the mornings or the afternoons. But yeah, George Papadopoulos, it's not just about a handful of people or Trump himself. This is about going after all the Catholics as terrorists because they don't want to murder babies. You're not murdering a baby. It's just a clump of cells. Okay. I know. Have you heard Bill Barr? Huh? You ever hear Billy Boy? Bill Barr. Bill Burr. You ever hear my take on that? Yeah. I mean, Oh, that's not the one. Here you go. Actually, for fun, the first thing that popped up was AJ. Here, let's play this one.
Because I don't like people telling me what to do, and I always just like, it's your body. Who the fuck am I?
Actually, it comes in a little too late on that. I'll play it from this one. Here we go.
I don't like people telling me what to do, and I always just like, it's your body. Who the fuck am I to tell you what to do with your body? So that always made sense, all right? However, I still think you're killing a baby. See? That's where it gets weird. It's not a baby yet. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
May or may not be true. I don't know.
May or may not be true. I'm a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you, my gut tells me that doesn't make sense. It's not a baby yet. That would be like if I was making a cake and I poured some batter in a pan and I put it in the oven, and then 5 minutes later you came by and you grabbed the pan, you threw it across the floor, and I went, what the f***, you just ruined my birthday cake? And then you were like, well, that wasn't a cake yet. It's like, well, it would have been. If you didn't do what you just did, there would have been a cake in 50 minutes. Something happened to that cake, you cake murdering son of a... I don't like people telling me.
Just a clump of cells. All right. Yeah, it's also a birthday cake. Anyway, yeah, anybody in the Trump orbit has been absolutely run through the ringer, and justice needs to happen because of that. There have to be ramifications and penalties for what they've done. I mean, if you can't remember the dark days of the fascistic silencing efforts from 2020 until January, I mean, when did it become safe to talk again? Maybe in the election season, it was just all systems go. But for 3 years, you couldn't talk about COVID, couldn't talk about the rigged election. Allegedly. Go to cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views. Yeah, I got to say stupid shit like that. Deb, did you hear my Tucker Carlson at the end of the show yesterday? You said, do a Tucker Carlson laugh, and I did it. And I did the Tucker Carlson laugh on the way out the door. Anyway, George Papadopoulos.
For her to do what she did by declassifying this information and more importantly, actually telegraphing it to the American public on national television and on social media. So we can't forget that we've already had 4 different investigations looking into Russiagate. We had Comey, we had Mueller, we had IG Horowitz, then of course we had John Durham. And the question is simple. Why after 4 investigations did we not have this information declassified years ago and delivered to the American public? It could have affected the last election, and it could have affected a lot more. Could have affected how people thought of their government, how they viewed President Trump, the Russia investigation, much more. It was all willfully suppressed. And I think finally we will have some accountability.
Keyword.
I'm glad you mentioned willfully suppressed. We're getting word now that the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email servers, the ones that were in her bathrooms packed up, they had thumb drives that apparently the FBI refused to go through the thumb drives with all kinds of evidence on it. Again, I believe by willful design. You said finally we'll have accountability. The theme of this program tonight, George, is we want accountability. Will we see it? I tend to disagree with you. The government, in this case, even Republicans, have never given me any reason to be hopeful when it comes to accountability for all the things MAGA wants accountability for, including going after you, George. I hope you're right. Why do you say we will when we never have before?
Because I think we're in unprecedented territory. For the first time in modern American history, we have a former FBI and a former CIA director under criminal investigation. We now have this critical information that was once thought to be completely withheld from anybody's view, declassified and delivered to the public. And it's going all the way up to President Obama. And when you have President Obama being touched with this particular investigation, I think in order to rewrite history, Grant, correctly with facts, and to continue this MAGA movement without any stain or tarnish, you have to go all the way. I have nothing to hide. President Trump has nothing to hide. General Flynn has nothing to hide. When you have nothing to hide, you want this transparency out there. I think with the right people at the right moments, like Gabbard, Patel, and others, we will have this accountability, because before we didn't have the right personnel in these positions of power, Grant. We had a lot of these bureaucrats that wanted to.
And that is legitimate. We don't identify. We don't talk about that enough. I think we all want to see certain things happen to fix the country. But what Papadopoulos is reminding us of is just that there aren't enough people in the positions yet. And that's frustrating because it's like you just want to go, 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 go. And now you're starting to see some headway. You're starting to see DNI Gabbard. I call her Gadford. Putting it all together. It's all connected. Like I said, it's not a one-off thing. Oh yeah, they got a fake FISA. It was an impeachment. Oh, they tried to lawfare him. Oh, they tried to get him with an insurrection act. Oh, they did a phony investigation into J6. Oh, they look at Ray Epps. Look at the pipe bomb. Look at this. It's like it's all a RICO conspiracy, ongoing, and we are in unprecedented, uncharted territory for sure. The fact that they thought they could get away with all this, they have to be legally smacked down. They must be, or else America's done.
To cover this up, they never expected Trump to actually win again.
No,
he did. They underestimated him. And now I think President Trump understands how important this is to his voters and for the future.
I'm right there with you. I was asked today by the folks over at World Debt Daily, what's the most important thing for the MAGA movement? And in the end, I came up with the answer, exactly what you just said, George Papadopoulos, which is we need accountability. We need to have these leaders, so-called leaders of the intelligence community, and Barack Obama and Susan Rice of the world held accountable, because if they're not held accountable, it is totally anti-American to just let them skate when literally what they did goes against the entire fabric of what this country was built on. So I hope we get it. Lastly, for you, on a personal note, with everything you went through, do you start to feel, I know you've already felt vindicated, but what do you feel as you start to see this unfold?
I feel momentum, Grant, and I love that feeling of optimism. And I know millions of Americans are feeling the same exact thing when you have these type of people in the positions of power where they are delivering on the promises. President Trump is delivering on campaign promises. Since 2015, one of his major campaign issues has been draining the swamp, building the wall, stopping World War III. He's done basically the latter two. Draining the swamp was never going to be easy, but when you have this type of momentum, it makes me feel exhilarated. I feel great. And I'm just really watching this show and very happy to be an American citizen, somebody that supports President Trump and MAGA from the beginning. I think this movement's here to stay, Grant.
Well, I agree with you, George, and I want to thank you, just like I thank General Flynn, for being such a large part of the strong voices out there that never gave up on this. And I think with you, we'll only see more momentum. If charges ever come, I'm still skeptical on.
I know. Skeptical, but hopeful, I suppose, is a good way to say that. All right, let's go over to this story. We need to talk about it. Daily Wire's Michael Knowles ripping Israel for targeting Christians in Gaza after the only Catholic church in Gaza was struck. The comment comes after Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Hey, there's one. By the way, do you know I interviewed Mike Huckabee? I talk about tentacles, man. I got interviews all over the place. This is maybe one of the first interviews I did. Well, one of the first ones for the New American Media, I think before I even created the New American Media.
Hello, I'm BrianEngelman. I'm here at the 2011 NAM convention in Anaheim, California. I'm here with Governor Mike Huckabee. Hello, Mike. Nice to see you.
Brian, good to be with you.
Thank you very much. By the way, should I call you Governor? Mike, what do people normally call you now that you're not currently a sitting governor?
Most of the things they call you cannot publish because it's really considered adult-only content, but Mike is fine.
Mike Huckabee, such a pleasant man. Big Huckabee fan. I like Mike. Hold on. What are you doing in the chat, Lake Leon? It's lunchtime and you're talking about taking a brisket off the smoke. Okay, gonna be put it on at midnight. Oh, okay. So you put it on at midnight. Now you just got it 12 hours later and you're ready to feast. Dude. Sounds awesome. Oh, and by the way, to the comment over there on Rumble, thank you so much saying, oh, I'll support more when I can. Belt is tight AF right now, unfortunately. Listen, never feel as though I'm talking to you. And I mean that. Whoever you is, whoever you are, whoever you is, that's not the way to say it. No, look, anybody who has signed up on Patreon, anybody who has thrown something in the tip jar, someone who consistently does, occasionally does, like, I'm never talking to you. Anything you have all done and anything you will continue to do is super awesome. Never feel like when I'm putting that out there, I'm continuing to try to squeeze out of our regulars. No. Just know that that's leaving the breadcrumbs so you can get to the gingerbread house, or so you can get back to your whatever that is. You leave breadcrumbs. But yeah, it's for all the new viewers that don't understand that, like, yeah, we are self-funded and we're looking for that. But I never wanted to come across as like I'm bugging you guys. You guys have to listen to it more than others, because instead of doing an ad read for and now I'm going to tell you about My Pillow. My Pillow, you need to go ahead and sign up for this. Use discount code BRAIN for 5% off. No, so it's that's never feel the need like I'm trying to get blood from a turnip or blood from a stone, or yeah, you guys are all good. Anything and everything you guys drop my way is like super awesome and appreciated. Never feel like you wish you could be doing more. Whatever you can do is fantastic and so appreciated. And we'll just leave it at that. Deb says, my friend is captain for AA, and he had Huckabee on his flight and sent me a selfie. Yeah, Huckabee is super gracious and nice. I mean, we talked.
Mike is fine. Yeah. Thank you. Mike, you're here at NAM. Tell me, why are you here at NAM as opposed to, you're going to be in Israel tomorrow, I think?
Not tomorrow.
Very soon.
Later this month.
Okay.
So ambassador to Israel, and look, we had him going to Israel later this month.
Well, this is, we're trying to figure it out, but I think it's the third NAM show of January, and I've been to one or two other NAM events, but over the past 10 years, I've been in a partnership with NAM, primarily because of a strong desire and commitment I have to see that musical instruments would be in the hands of every kid in America who wanted one.
To put musical instruments in the hands of all the kids in America. So, you know what? I'll put this out on X just in case anyone wants to watch the episode. I'll do, in case you missed it. One of TNAM's. Oh, here, let me share this tab instead. In case you missed it, one of TNAM's very first interviews ever, when we spoke with, at Mike, is Huckabee? Is he on here? About music and more. So there, if anybody wants to watch that, I left the Easter egg, I left the breadcrumb out there. Okay, cool. Glad we started talking about that. But yeah, this comment comes after Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, has reportedly threatened to declare that Israel does not welcome Christians. Well, now, I don't know about that. Well, here you go.
This is the line from the Latin Patriarch. The Latin Patriarchate, which is the Catholic Church in Gaza, the Latin Patriarchate strongly condemns this tragedy and this targeting of innocent civilians and of a sacred place. So Israel came out later on after international outcry, including from the White House. Israel came out and said, oh, it was a mistake. It was an accident. Was it an accident? I don't see any evidence that it was an accident. Can you provide me some proof that it was an accident? You struck the church. Churches are pretty obvious targets. They're pretty obvious sites. You know, there's certain features, the cross.
Yeah, by the way, something being accidental, you know, that's a high bar to hurdle. I don't just take at face value that anything might be accidental. I'm just not doing it. Not going to do it. Sorry.
Steeple, pretty obvious. Can you explain to
prove that it wasn't intentional?
Me how this was an accident? Haven't heard that. The Latin Patriarch seems to think it was intentional. The targeting of innocent civilians, not just a stray bullet, the targeting. And he goes on, he says, however, this tragedy is not greater or more terrible than the many others that have befallen Gaza. Many other innocent civilians have also been harmed, displaced, and killed. Death, suffering, and destruction are everywhere. This horrific war must come to a complete end so that we may commence the long work of restoring human dignity. Diane Montagna, who's a great reporter on the Vatican and Rome and the Pope, says His Holiness renews his call for an immediate ceasefire. So this is talking about Pope Leo. He expresses his profound hope for dialogue, reconciliation, and enduring peace in the region. And then The Pillar, which is a Catholic outlet, says sources close to the Patriarchate's chancery told The Pillar Thursday that some officials believe the strike could have been a deliberate act of retaliation after Christian leaders recently condemned Israeli settler attacks on a West Bank Christian town.
Oh, retaliation after attacks on Christians were condemned.
Now, I want you to...
Maybe not, but the accusations floating out there. And look, to be fair, these accusations are on both sides of this. That's what happens in war. Do you believe the Ukrainians or the Russians? Do you believe Gaza, Hamas? Do you believe Israel? Who do you believe? Oh, they're using propaganda. They said babies were butchered. They're babies. Yeah, it's called propaganda. It's called war. I know. This gets really ugly really fast. Either 1,200 people were butchered at that concert or they weren't. No, it was Bibi that did it. Bibi shot him. It's a Samson. They went after their own people. Most of those deaths were from their own. Some of them were. But then you get the people like Marco Rubio. I heard him say this. I forget in what context and in which. Was it Israel in Gaza? It might be this latest one. Like someone was trying to get him with an aha or a gotcha. It's like, hey, don't you feel bad about all the pain and suffering? He's like, yeah, the pain and suffering here is awful. And it's because of Hamas, because they butchered 1,200 people at a concert and started a war. Oh, you don't have to respond so heavy-handed. Heavy-handed? You arrest Obama and throw him in a cage for treason. You're attacked. 1,200 people are butchered. I understand that churches are supposed to be safe places and, pseudo off limits. I get that. And it also reminds me of how many Islamic terrorists go hide in mosques because they know, like, oh, can't get me here. Then they say, oh, well, they bombed a hospital, innocent people. And it's like, yeah, you have your military tunnels connecting these hospitals. Like you've turned them into military targets because you think, aha, nobody could get me here. But the response from Marco Rubio and the response from many is, yeah, oh, you hate this genocide. Yeah, we do too. We don't want to be doing this, but you decided to try to execute to end our country, end us, come in and destroy us from the river to the sea, shake us off like fleas. I don't know. I understand the concept of you get hit and you just demolish your opponent. You destroy them. You take them out. That's what a war is. Was it a false flag? There's a lot of angles to consider. But Marco Rubio is like, yeah, you want me to condemn the genocide? Yeah, I condemn Hamas for starting this war that's led to the destruction of their people and their country. This is on Hamas. You reap the whirlwind. You started it. Don't want none. Don't start none. You started it. Don't worry. There's an answer for everything. They go, nope, it started in 1948 when Israel was put there. Israel doesn't belong there. Israel shouldn't be there. And you're like, okay. By that same rationale, America shouldn't be here. Mexico, Texas is Mexico. California is Mexico. We're taking those back too. There's no limit to how far back you can go to claim. Nope, it's mine instead. How about it is what it is today? The barriers and the borders, the table is set. Give me a super compelling reason to undo how the table is set today. But in this conflict, what is it? Greater Israel they're talking about? They're like, no, you gotta go ahead and get this canal. You got to get this shipping route. You need to get this pipeline. You need to expand a little bit. And oh, how convenient. Whether it's a fire in Maui, a fire in the Palisades, BLM over in Nevada with the ranchers, or trying to get them off public land, public grazing land for maybe mineral rights or resources under the ground, perhaps. Maybe it's doing some mining in areas of North Carolina. And wouldn't it be nice if there was just a hurricane that wiped everything out, got rid of these pesky civilizations on the side of this mountain, then we can mine it now once it's cleared, once we flood everything. Whether it's intentional or just taking advantage of a crisis, when you start expanding during times of war, it looks like, well, if it wasn't intentional, you can understand why people would claim it's possibly, intentional. So yeah, accusations on all sides, and I don't know what facilitated the attack, but the claim that Michael Knowles is referencing here is that this was retaliation because of what the Christians exposed, which was shitty treatment from the people of Israel.
Put a bar. First of all, we pray for the dead and for this Christian community, but put a bar there for a second. There's another story coming out, which is that Mike Huckabee, as strong a supporter as the state of Israel as there is, U.S. ambassador to the state of Israel. According to the Times of Israel, Mike Huckabee is threatening to declare Israel not welcoming to Christians as a visa fight blows open. Penned a scathing letter to the Interior Minister accusing Israel of blocking Christian groups from entering Israel and threatening reciprocal steps against Israeli visa seekers. Wow. As I've mentioned before, everyone seems to hate the state of Israel these days, mostly coming from the left, but some people on the right have joined. And I've been broadly supportive of the state of Israel, not really as an ideological matter, but as a matter of prudence. And you're losing me. You're losing me. When you strike churches, the only church in Gaza, even if accidentally, but especially if not accidentally, you're losing me. If you're losing Mike Huckabee, the Israeli government is really screwing up, is really not playing its cards right. If Trump, I think the press secretary yesterday said Trump was furious, Trump was angry, and not the exact word, but he was quite dismayed to hear about this attack on the church. I agree with the Holy Father. I agree with the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, and I agree especially with the Holy Father on most matters. The war needs to come to an end. There need to be political consequences for this action, and the war needs to come to an end. How long is the war going to go on? I know what the answer is. The answer is, well, until the hostages come home. Okay, well, how about we redouble our efforts to get the hostages home, if that's the impediment to peace? Because it seems like there have been a lot of side quests and side missions going in, the Iran nuclear facilities, maybe potentially regime change in Iran, occupying southern Syria. It seems like there have been a lot of distractions. The war has been going.
Yeah, there's a lot of components at play. And when the U.S. got involved bombing Iran, as Bibi announces, oh, we're going to give you a peace prize for you, Trump. As the Epstein story is bubbling to the top and the Mossad connection is being spoken about broadly, the connections, the dots being connected. And then, oh, nothing to see here. Just feels, is the tail wagging the dog here? Is this Bibi calling the shots? Is this Israel calling the shots? Or what don't we know? There's a lot we don't know about geopolitics, that's for sure. But yeah, this isn't just going after Hamas. Like now they're in Syria, now they're in Iran. And like this is, it feels like this is part of what Wesley Clark said, 7 countries in 7 years. That was the plan after 9/11. And it's like they already had it pre-planned out. It's just, how are we going to get there? That's why the deep state kept saying, we're going to pin the tail on Russia. Yeah, Russia influenced the election. Russia, Putin puppet. Yeah, that's a ticket. Russia. Oh, Hunter Biden's laptop? No, don't do that. Nobody will vote for Biden. He's corrupted. He's bribed and that is blackmail material if you've ever seen it. No. That has all the classic earmarks of checks, notes, Russian propaganda. You blame everything on Russia if that's who you're trying to destroy.
Going on for almost 2 years. When's it going to end? Just what's the end of it? Can anyone tell me that? When the hostages are released? Well, then focus on getting the hostages released.
Yeah.
Well, no, when Hamas is totally destroyed. Okay, well, when's that going to be? When Iran is no longer funding terrorism? When's that going to be? When Syria is made safe for democracy? When? Give me an answer. Because the war cannot just go on indefinitely. A just war cannot just go on indefinitely. And when you start striking churches, accidentally or otherwise, when you start interfering with American interests, not allowing in the reporting about Ambassador Huckabee, when you start interfering with American groups going to the state of Israel, now we got a problem. And America is the only friend that Israel has on planet Earth.
Is that fair to say? Is that fair to say? America is the only friend to Israel on planet Earth. Is it fair when America gets called Big Satan or which one are they called? Big Satan or Little Satan? It's hard to even keep track. The only friend Israel has is America. Why is that?
So, I don't know. I do not get what the Israeli government is doing here, but I suspect there will be political consequences for it, as there should be. This is the line from the Latin Patriarch.
So that's there, and we need to kind of be aware of it. Shadow of Ezra says, Barack Obama's prosecution referral from Tulsi Gabbard is now on Pam Bondi's desk. We all know what happens next. That is the Bermuda Triangle. Ain't nothing gonna happen. Yeah. Many people are suggesting that they rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of No One Has Been Arrested Yet. There's a question of the day. Do you agree or disagree with the name change from Gulf of America? Instead, call it the Gulf of No One Has Been Arrested Yet. Agree or disagree? I'm going to agree. Yep. Turning Point Action reminds us we know everything about the CEO and the HR lady. Everything. But what do we know about this little dork that allegedly was the mastermind who evaded all the Secret Service, running around like Frogger, jumping from building to building? Oh, no, we couldn't put snipers there. There's a roof. But most importantly, this roof had a slopey on it. Yeah, like every roof. If a roof wasn't sloped, it would collect the water. Like it has to it has a pitch to drain the water off. Nick agrees wholeheartedly. Let's change it to the Gulf of No One Has Been Arrested Yet. When we say we want the Butler files, it is, who was this kid talking to? Why was he going allegedly back and forth to a CIA building? Or a building that houses CIA, or it's like at a mall and they have an office in there or something. When we say we want the Epstein files, and it's like, oh, either there's a bunch of, we need to know the case, make the case, lay the case out. And it gets so exhausting. Like, well, we're in the middle of an active investigation, so we can't, we can't release the blah, 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 blah. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Cool. But what was it? Was Epstein throwing parties and he had hookers? Or he had a 5-year-old chained in a dungeon somewhere? We've heard every variation of the story, but what do we actually know? Well, there's thousands of hours of videos. And you expect it's just going to be, here's all the blackmail tapes. Here's all the people we got on camera. That's how we're getting all this Les Wexner money. You bribe them, you blackmail them, you done. In my pocket for life. And they're like, no, all it was just gross, kitty, awful footage, terrible stuff. Every room was wired. They've been in the control room. We've heard bits and pieces of the entire story, but it's never been put together. What it seems like is what the the Biden, wink, wink, administration left for Trump seems to be suggesting, when you have Kevin Spacey and Hillary Clinton and all of the deep state hacks calling, oh, no, you got to show us what's in those files. Wait, why are you saying that? You didn't say that for 4 years. What did you do? You cooked the books to try to frame Trump again? You're going to remove all of the evidence of your people? and maybe you left all of the ones that would destroy Congress's ability to get anything passed, and grant a Democrat majority to, maybe they can release it after the midterms when they can cycle some of the compromised people out. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I'll tell you what, I sure as shit don't know much about this little dorky kid that came within an inch of starting a civil war in America. And by the way, we're in a civil war in America. We have been. This stuff doesn't go without consequence. These things don't happen in a vacuum. And it's not just politics as usual. This is active war. And it's just super weird how we know next to nothing about the guy that took a piece of the president. I'm not sure if these numbers are right, but I've read this report. Let me ask Grok. This is the image from yesterday. Pay me what I'm owed. As a cat. John Boy made one. I made one. Pay me what I'm owed. Okay. How many days did Obama sign into the White House during Biden's term? Yeah, I could put air quotes around term. How many days did Obama sign into the White House during Biden's term? Ex-post suggests 310 or 365 days. They lack evidence and appear to stem from speculation or satire. Unclear how many days. Who keeps that log to check the number? Yeah, Grok just kind of washed their hands. They're like, I don't know. Haven't been able to find him. Like, yeah, but who keeps the log to check on the number? Grok is looking around. Only a few documented instances. Access to the logs is limited. I'd like to see a FOIA request on that. Love to see a Freedom of Information Request Act. So I don't know if that's accurate. Okay. Well, here, we'll let it play. Unmute. And I'm going to say Grok could only confirm a couple of White House visits. Do we need to file Freedom of Information Act to get the logs and see how many times Barry visited? Yeah, might need a Freedom of Information request. But look, we disproved this. His Joe time lasted from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It looks like we know who was running the country. 310 out of 365 days. Well, I don't know if that appears to be unverified at the very least, if not incorrect. All right, Border Czar Tom Homan discussing America after an illegal alien invader shoots a border officer in the face in New York City.
I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. And I'm going to work very hard with Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone. You don't want to let us into jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, which makes it unsafe for the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Anything can happen on a street arrest.
Yep.
So what we're going to do, we'll have more agents in New York City to look for that bad guy. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want, more agents in the community and more agents in the work site. If we can't arrest that bad guy in the safety and security of the county jail, to arrest him in the community, and we'll arrest him in a jail. And when we arrest him in the community, if he's with others that are in the country illegally, they're coming too. I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. And I'm going to work very hard with Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone.
Okay, same thing.
You don't want to let us in the jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail.
Yeah, that's nuts. You do that in a jail. You don't put them out in Gen Pop. You don't let them. You don't release them out into the universe. By the way, an unanswered question. I said, why was that Border Patrol agent sitting on that rock in the park? Like, what even is the story? And the story apparently was that I just looked on Grok. It says he was there with a female companion. So they were out enjoying the park or on a date or hanging out or whatever. And the injuries, I wanted an update. Broken jaw and a bullet lodged in his throat with facial swelling complicating its removal. Stable condition, communicating through hand gestures and expected to survive. Ugh. Broken jaw, bullet lodged in his throat. That's just awful. And Wokeness says both of the suspects who gunned down the border agent in New York City were illegals caught and released by Biden. Yeah, you don't catch illegals and let them hang out in your country. You keep them in Mexico. You don't let them in.
I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals.
All right. Now, Tim Dillon has been everywhere recently. And apparently he's having lunch with J.D. Vance. Really? How believable is this?
I want to add, when Bondi said we have 10,000 hours of video, she said we have 10,000 hours of video. I had dinner last week with the vice president. He told me that that was commercial pornography. They do not have videos of any powerful person in a compromising position.
Look, let's just play a thought experiment here. How much information do we have? Conjecture and hearsay, that's types of evidence. How much information do we actually have to confirm that there are hard drives and files of people recorded doing deeds on the island? We all sort of know that to be true. In the comments, just from everybody on Rumble, on YouTube, however you're watching, on X. Tell me and tell the rest of us, what evidence is there that this is a blackmail ring? We all say it. We say child trafficking. What does that mean? You bring a 17-year-old girl to a party, or you have a 5-year-old chained in a cage? Like what? Like literally, what are we talking about? Abuse can run the gamut of, God knows what. What if he was just the party guy who always threw the parties, and he had the high connections of presidents and more? What evidence do we have? We saw a photograph that looked like a box, that looked like what was a hard drive or files, maybe. We saw pictures of something that might have been. We saw people looking in a room with a drone, and then they covered up the windows so you couldn't see in. What do we actually know? Because the new story is like, oh, all that stuff that we thought that we had There's none of that stuff there. So either the Democrats are saying release it because they know they can paint Trump looking guilty, or is it possible the Democrats set him up and set up a whole nice sting, a nice little a little gotcha, hoping they'd rush really fast to release all the files, but it would actually implicate their whole team, take him out. They deleted all the stuff that would have helped prove the, you know the names that have been connected there. By the way, Bobby Kennedy took the plane. I was on vacation with my wife and kids, and I believe we took the Epstein plane, but I never went to the island. Okay. Maybe not. I don't know. I just keep going back to the darts analogy. Outer ring. Everybody has been touched by the outer ring because they were influence peddling, lobbying, cutting deals. Hey, let me introduce you to this guy. He's got an interesting perspective on something. Oh, you're into. Oh, yeah, maybe I could support that. Well, maybe I could support you as well. Maybe there's something I could do for you. By the way, you want to get a massage from these two lovely ladies? I mean, it could have been a pleasure palace of consenting people. Who do we really know that's been victimized? Virginia Giuffre? Oh, she was silenced. Or she got hit by a bus and then said, I'm not suicidal. And then she ended her. I don't know. Where are the victims? Like, who are we even talking about? I don't know who we're talking about. I know one name, Virginia Giuffre, Virginia Roberts. Who else? Dark Sage 9117 here on Twitch, jumping in. First time. Is this your first time commenting, Dark Sage? Comments, the MLK files tell us that MLK has been dead for years and is no longer alive. Reporting for duty. I do think it does say that, actually. David chimes in and says, we know nothing of what the truth is. So, all right, I'm just saying, let's pretend for a second that maybe what if this version is accurate? I'm not saying I support it, not saying I believe it. But what if? What if it is? Because I don't know. What's the story? What is the better full story? Pam Bondi's going to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell? Maybe. Convicted of trafficking children and no one? What was that grand jury testimony about? What are those files? That was a court case. Not what the Brennan, Comey, Clapper, Obama, Biden, Harris, deep state gave us back. Said, here you go, release this. Go on now, release it. But what if? What if the files are just like, not what we were told?
That's the party line that they're going with. If that's the case, why would Pam Bondi call it evident? I just want to add.
Sorry, is Alex Jones smoking? And yeah, why would Pam Bondi call it evidence? The messaging rollout has been wonky and weird. Almost intentionally wonky and weird. So I'm wondering if there isn't part of a bigger plan. I don't know. But the story doesn't seem to make sense. And part of it also includes, why is Tim Dillon having dinner with the vice president? I mean, that's a weird one too. But what if? Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard says, quote, they're coming out of the woodwork, end quote. DNI Tulsi Gabbard says disgusted whistleblowers who helped craft the Obama-Brennan phony Russia report are turning affidavits over to the Department of Justice. So we're going to put an indict and arrest button. Like, we're done with the investigations. We all know what's going on. Just Indict and arrest. Charge them. So here you go. Here's Pam Bondi from the Real State of America. Breaking, AG Pam Bondi orders the Department of Justice to immediately get in contact with Ghislaine Maxwell about anyone who has committed crimes against victims. So what are we talking? Why don't they get off the island? Why don't they call somebody? They're chained. They're locked there. How many people? Like, what is the extent of what was going on? What victims were victimized in what way? Like, we got to hear the case already. It's been 6 years, enough. But what if Epstein was taken out? Oh, yeah, that was the question. What if he was offed? Of course. Under Bill Barr and Donald Trump, mind you. Although Bill Barr, isn't it more likely, or at least equally plausible, that Epstein was evacuated? They faked his demise, and they got him out of there. Maybe he's turned double agent, triple agent. Maybe he's working on behalf. Maybe he wasn't Mossad. Maybe he was a free agent the whole time. And of course, everybody blames Israel for everything. He's not really Mossad. It's just Israel's the easy fall guy. They get blamed for everything, especially when they're not doing anything. And maybe that is true, and maybe it's not. I don't know. Quote, I anticipate meeting with Miss Maxwell in the coming days. Until now, no administration on behalf of the department had inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. That changes now, Deputy AG Blanche said. I'm sorry. They're telling us that until now, no administration on behalf of the department had inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. And that changes now. President Trump told us to release all credible evidence. And that's the key word, doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Credible evidence. I think they've identified stuff that was put in there to take out Trump and his team. They've indicated as much. And I think they've tainted the evidence. I think it appears, if I were guessing, that the deep state tainted the evidence. To what degree? I'm not entirely certain. How could I be? How could anybody be? We don't know what we don't know. Donald Rumsfeld said famously, there are known unknowns and unknown unknowns. So we'll follow it. We'll see. Is Ghislaine Maxwell going to talk? By the way, Ghislaine Maxwell did not off herself. Ghislaine Maxwell did not off herself. If you start singing, oh, you better have protection. House Speaker Mike Johnson, there he is, says Congress might subpoena Obama over the Russia conspiracy. Might. I think I have a video of this, so instead of reading you the quote, I'll try to find the video of Mike Johnson. The general here says a newly declassified document reveals James Comey cleared Hillary Clinton of email server crimes without ever investigating key thumb drives containing classified emails, including messages from President Obama. There we go. There we go. A little bit of redaction in that report. Oh, is that James Comey? Is that really Comey? He looks weird. Wearing a Biden-Harris 2020 shirt. Ugh. Could you imagine being the one guy that bought merch from that campaign? Ugh. Here's Democrats reacting to when they find out Russian collusion was a hoax. A mere 8 years after conservatives knew. It has to restart from the beginning to get the full effect. Once again, this is the reaction that Democrats are having 8 years after learning what Republicans have known the whole time. Russian collusion was a hoax. There we go. There it is. The reaction. Right here. There we go. Come on. Can't play too much. I don't want it to get taken down. But that's a joke that we were playing. And we played it for fair use. All right. The Epoch Times or the Epic Times. Holy crap. Horrifying updates. Quote. This is from Health and Human Services. Here, let me do it. There we go. Better framing that. Our findings show that hospitals allowed the organ procurement process to begin when patients showed signs of life. And this is horrifying. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, hospitals allowed for organ theft when patients were showing signs of life. People, I think on my initial 16-year-old license, I said organ donor. I haven't done it since. I took it off as soon as I started hearing these stories. No, thank you. So that somebody richer than me could put 20 grand into somebody's pocket if they can find a way to grab an organ. Someone gets a $500,000 check so that they could, Yeah, I don't know that I could recommend anybody fill out that form knowing that there's so much opportunity for that. HHS has found this to be true. Pretty shocking clam. I mean, it's horrifying stuff. We'll let Tulsi say her piece here on Fox News. Bad Hombre here put this out. I just want to give you an update on the Hunter Biden interview. Did you see the Hunter Biden interview? And if so, what jumped out at you? What clips caught your eye? Bad Hombre here shared this, and let me make sure I reshare this onto TNAM. According to Bad Hombre, it says, in a span of 3 hours, Hunter Biden gave a step-by-step instruction on how to cook crack. Oh, I did watch that. It's just sodium bicarbonate, man. Hunter Biden trashed Nancy Pelosi and claimed she secretly hates Kamala. Hunter told Nancy Pelosi's daughter to go F herself. It might be the first time I've agreed with Hunter Biden. Hunter said Joe Biden was strung out on Ambien during the Trump debate. Oh, boy. Ambien. Hunter blamed Obama, David Axelrod, Pod Save America, and George Clooney for staging a coup against his father. Whoa. Hunter admitted that his family relies on illegal alien slave labor. It's that classic, who's going to pick the crops? Who's going to clean your rooms? Who's going to be my servant? Hunter threatened to invade El Salvador to retrieve gang members. I saw that. He's like, hold on. We deported people to El Salvador? I'll go down there and say, give me these people back or else we're going to invade. You're like, what? Hunter confessed that the Russian disinformation laptop was his. Hunter claimed Israel allowed the October 7 attack to justify invading Gaza. Whoa. Okay. I mean, you could say that's a high-ranking person to make that claim publicly and boldly, because I show me the evidence of that. I debated this with Blake and like, oh, it's obvious. I'm like, it's nothing. That's not obvious. Show me. Well, they have all the best equipment. That's not evidence. Well, you're telling me hang gliders came in over the border? If a bird lands on a wire, they know within a second, and they would have had lasers there. Jewish space lasers would have zapped the bird. No way all these people flew in. Based on what? Why couldn't there be a failure in self-defense? Well, Israel has the most defense ever, so if it happened, they let it happen. I go, it sounds like date rapey, like, oh, she deserved to get abused because she wore a skimpy dress. Oh no, they were asking for that attack. They were asking for it if they couldn't stop it. Show me the evidence. Anyone? I've heard that claim out there, but based on what? Yeah, we had several knockdown, drag out discussions, conversations. If you got evidence, bring it. Otherwise, I don't even know what we're talking about. So anyway, Hunter Biden claims Israel allowed the October 7 attack to justify invading Gaza. Hunter argued that crack is cleaner and safer than alcohol. Hunter defended cheating on his taxes. America, we have found Jasmine Crockett's 2028 running mate. So that's a pretty good post there from Bad Hombre. Well done. Definitely just shared that on our X feed. So be sure to check that out. Okay, here's Tulsi Gabbard in her own words telling us the full story.
In the months leading up to the November 2016 election.
Let's really get the case from her mouth to and this is what we're asking with Epstein. Lay out the case. Tell us. Boncino and Cash. Oh, he definitely hung himself. Trust me, I know. I've worked I reviewed the evidence, and that's all there is to see. I really think they got Epstein out of there. And they can't talk about it because it's an active thing where he's cooperating to take everybody down. Yeah, I got all the documents. I got all the evidence. We're going to say we don't have anything, but we're putting the whole case together. And maybe it takes a couple minutes to do it. I'll grant a little bit of leeway with a little bit of time for the administration, if that's what's going on. I'm not done with the story, and I want someone to lay it out like Tulsi is laying out this grand conspiracy of treason from Obama et al. Obama, Clinton, and the deep state.
The intelligence community agreed that there was no intelligence that reflected that Russia was trying to hack the election in favor of either candidate. The evidence showed, the intelligence showed that, again, Russia did not have either the intent nor the capability to be able to impact the outcome of the United States election. So it was very striking when we look back again at the documents that I declassified and released that shows there was a shift in early December, the first week of December. Again, another document was produced by the intelligence community, a president's daily brief that was consistent with every other assessment that was done previously leading up to the election. Russia did not, this is after the election now, did not attempt to affect the outcome of the American election. That was never published. Hours before it would have gone into President.
But also, you assume every country's trying to influence every election. That's not a story in and of itself. They're claiming Trump was compromised with the video, so he's Putin's puppet. He works for Putin. No, he was calling out the overthrow of Yanukovych. He's calling out what happened in Ukraine and Ukraine's aggression into Russia with the UN. The perfect phone call, the Burisma, all the money laundering from Hunter Biden and the deep state. Yeah, that's why they took Trump out. They didn't like him upsetting the apple cart, the gravy train.
In Obama's president's daily brief, it was pulled by a senior level intelligence official saying that they had to pull it because they had received new guidance.
We have to pull it. Wasn't that Larry Silverstein saying that was the allegation they said about Building 7 in New York on 2001 on 9/11? Pull it. You know, people reported the building was down while it was still up. The building that went down that wasn't touched by a plane. You know, that one.
The very next day, this meeting was called, a National Security Council meeting, bring together all of the senior leaders of President Obama's cabinet, and the topic that was put forward was a sensitive matter. The tasks that came out of that meeting was coming from President Obama directing the intelligence community, then Obama's ODNI director Clapper, to produce a document, to produce an intelligence assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow affected the outcome of the election that had already occurred, electing Donald Trump to the presidency. This document that they published in January of 2017 was the foundational groundwork that they continued to reference over and over and over again to enact this years-long coup against President Trump. In the months leading up to the November 2016 election, the intelligence...
And we just said in the comments, let's put the arrests on a live pay-per-view feed so we can watch in real time. Or maybe film first, then release the arrest videos as a compilation from body cam. We would love to watch that. Agree or disagree? Question of the day, type it in the comments. QOTD. I would love to watch the body cam footage of these people being arrested. To get the body cam footage of when you put Obama in cuffs, Comey in cuffs, Clapper in cuffs, Brennan in cuffs. Or you just let treason run rampant and then you have no country. I mean, you could do that too, but you agree or disagree? I would love to watch the body cam footage of these people being arrested. Type it in the comments. Agree or disagree? So there's Tulsi laying it out. Breaking. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has called for the Federal Reserve System to be examined. Dr. Ron Paul's been saying this for a long time. What say you? Here's Scott Bessent.
I think that what we need to do is examine the entire Federal Reserve institution and whether they have been successful.
Lake Leon. Hell yes, I agree. Yeah. Could you imagine watching that? I mean, they put Roger Stone, like, you know, we had a camera crew with CNN, just happened to be there at 3 a.m. to do the perp walk. No, they raided Trump's home and rifled through his wife's underwear. Yeah, they can arrest Obama. You're damn right. Trump didn't do anything. And the allegation is the Mar-a-Lago raid was to get the evidence that Trump had about all of this grand conspiracy. They had to try to get it back. Didn't work. Anyway, Scott saying we need to examine the Federal Reserve. Yeah, I beg of anybody to tell me why we need someone to create money out of thin air and loan it to us at interest. And how many people work for the Federal Reserve? A shocking number. I don't understand who they are, what they do. Most important, I mean, I do understand. And because I understand, I don't want to have anything to do with them. So, yeah, get rid of them ASAP or make your case as to why you think they should stay.
I'm speaking, actually, I'm going to be in the building this evening. There is a regulatory conference that begins tomorrow. I'm the keynote speaker tonight talking about regulation. The Fed as well deals with monetary policy, regulations, financial stability. And again, I think that we should think, has the organization succeeded in its mission? You know, if this...
What is the mission? It seems like their only mission has been to devalue our currency and steal from us.
Were the FAA and we were having this many mistakes, we would go back and look at why has this happened? I mean, look at as you said at the top of the at the top of this broadcast. I think that there was fear mongering over tariffs, and thus far we have seen very little, if any, inflation. We've had great inflation numbers.
Yeah, the numbers are very low. Like, we finally stopped hemorrhaging our money away.
So, you know, I think this idea of them not being able to break out of a certain mindset, you know, all these PhDs over there, I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do. This is like universal basic income for, you know, academic economists. there was fear.
That's a great line. It's like universal basic income program for PhD economists. The Scoop US says this is no longer about just interest rates. It's about blowing the lid off of the entire corrupt system. Ron Paul, it's happening. I don't know why I turned him into a gay leprechaun there. No, I think it's just all the green made me think leprechaun. It's happening. I didn't say it like that. Nick Adams. He would watch. He would absolutely watch the live or the compilation, the body cam footage. Oh, that would be such a great documentary. The moment these people realize you're finding out because you effed around. All right, Wesley for Texas released this. How do you feel about this ad? I want your thoughts.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours,
Americans in every city need to start paying attention.
In his nomination speech, said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City.
Well, then we'll have to arrest him.
That none of this is in vain, that this is all jihad. I think it's time for Muslims to start to say, all right, I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Are prisons obsolete?
I mean, what purpose do they serve?
I just think Mamdani would be terrible for the city.
I don't support it. I think it's too radical.
He thinks he's going to give everything free. Where's the money going to come from?
I mean, do you support Zohar Mamdani's calls to seize means of production?
Do you have any response to those who have been labeling you a communist in recent days, like seizing the means of production? Thank you.
Government-run grocery stores, that's ridiculous. That's what they do in communist countries.
Omar Fateh here, candidate for mayor of Minneapolis.
Next mayor of Minneapolis. Why?
Our Somali communities are all connected to each other. Because when we succeed here, we can succeed everywhere, inshallah.
إلهام معها قضية إلهام معها قضية مينيسوتا معها قضية غير مريكان قضية إلهام وقضية
Somalia. American people and Somalian people.
These people are just idiots. It's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity.
You want to know who the real threat is? They don't look like our chief author. They look like many of the members that sit in the front, specifically those who advocate for the superiority of the white race, not our immigrants.
There's so many Somalians in this. God, any place you walk.
To now be turned into.
So I'm wondering, with this soaring music in the background of this, are we going to get a copyright claim? It's so stupid. We're playing this commercial from Wesley from Texas.
The worst countries where the military are in our streets.
Because if Mamdani is the future of the Democratic Party, we've got bigger problems than just here in New York City.
Yeah, that case. What was that? He shot him with fire? Modern Democrat
We're at war with
Party. The frightening modern Democrat Party. Wesley for Texas. Wesley Hunt. Wesley Hunt did a really good job when he was on. Is this real?
Trump is putting the Robert E. Lee name back on buildings. I mean, are you down with that?
So when I was at West Point, I actually lived in Robert E. Lee Barracks when I was there. And as I said,
Robert E. Lee went to West Point.
Yes, he did. That's why the barracks is named after him. My brother, sister, and I are matriculated through West Point. We all graduated. And I'll never forget walking under the threshold of Robert E. Lee Barracks and think to myself, damn, this is one hell of a country. Because only in America can someone like me walk into a building named after a Confederate general and then be a successful West Point graduate. If we start changing the names on buildings, then every single building would be named Jesus Christ based on perfection. I bring that up because I want to talk about the progress, and the idea of us changing names on buildings actually doesn't harken us back to times where they weren't as good.
And statues,
and how
too?
can we not? Oh, I am, my wife is, I've been black my whole life.
Yes.
So far, still. My wife is white, and we have 3 biracial children, and I cannot wait to show them and take them to places that wasn't always the case. There was a time when your mother and daddy could not be married. My children are going to have the opportunity to be second lining down in New Orleans, and then my wife is from Iowa. They'll be on the farm with their grandfather in Iowa. That is America.
Yes.
And I do not want to take down these statues and change the names of these buildings because they're a reminder of what was. And if we don't remember it, we are doomed to repeat it.
He's this Wesley. I want to say Wesley Clark every time. Wesley Hunt. He's a very talented communicator. Keep your eyes peeled on Wesley Hunt.
We're at war with the most dangerous.
Yeah, America is at war right now. Dropping bombs in Iran, funding Israel. But here, look, here's the thing I want everyone to realize. Don't be all negative. Don't be negative with me about everything. America was running up the tab in Ukraine. We backed out of that. We tried negotiating peace. Those two sides don't want to stop killing each other. There's only so much you can do to try to put pressure on, put sanctions on, have meetings, make phone calls, publicly call for okay, fine. But if you can't get them to stop fighting, at least stop running up our credit card. Now what's happened is Europe has decided they are going to pay, and they're going to buy American munitions. So America has now monetized the war instead of handing over a blank checkbook, handing over a credit card saying, use it for whatever you need. Use it for whatever you need. I got you. Oh, you got you. Yeah, you got, okay. So that has changed. But yeah, America's at war, and Biden, Obama, put 40 million illegal aliens into America from God knows where, for God knows what purpose. So yeah, we are at war right now. And we have been for a while. But at least Ukraine is no longer going on our tab. All right, Toria Brooke here says Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has been referred to the Department of Justice for criminal charges. Powell is accused of 2 instances of lying under oath, per Fox News. He won't lower the damned interest rates. He's stealing money from us all. Interest, usury. It's indentured servitude. It's slavery. Aren't there cultures like in Islam and in Judaism where you can't loan someone something at interest? You can't charge interest. Isn't that a thing? Maybe. Let's bring that to America. Let's make that an American thing. Benny Johnson says Children's National Hospital will stop all gender transition surgeries. You could call it that, or you could call it unnecessary genital mutilation. The change comes as the Trump administration has sought to restrict access to such, it's not care, restricting access to such care nationwide. It's not caring. Start slicing and dicing a child that's not old enough, mature enough to make a permanent life-altering decision for chemical cocktails of hormones or radical, unnecessary genital mutilation. No, thank you. But that's a big step. Paul Sperry says developing Department of Justice has declassified key new documents detailing how the Comey FBI and Peter Strzok ignored a major national security breach by Hillary Clinton they should have thoroughly investigated as a part of a counterintelligence case, but they went after Donald Trump instead.
There has been a huge
Oh, Toria Brooke. Well, okay. Talking about how we're going off topic here, are we?
Information campaign to bolster a narrative. We know, according to a Rolling Stone article, and yes, many people may question, why am I referencing Rolling Stone? Guess what? There is no equal source. It's about the information that's being put out. The original Pizzagate Facebook post actually appeared on October 29th, 2016, a day after then FBI Director James Comey had announced that the Bureau was reopening the investigation into Clinton's use of the private email server while she was Secretary of State. Hello, Benghazi. Data from the server had been found on electronics belonging to former Rep. Anthony Weiner, the husband of Clinton's close aide, Huma Abedin, who had been caught texting inappropriately with a 15-year-old. We're still waiting on more information regarding the Anthony Weiner laptop, which is a whole other story, but it ties into this because on Facebook.
There you go. The author of the PG post, Carmen Katz, was found to not exist in the state of Missouri, where she claimed to be from. Upon receiving calls for investigation from Rolling Stone, the post was deleted.
Facebook, this Pizzagate post was written by a woman named Carmen Katz. She said, my NYPD, there has been a huge disinformation campaign. Source said it's much more vile and serious than classified material on Weiner's device. So again, diverting.
Yeah, that's what we've all heard about it.
From the Anthony Weiner laptop.
Okay.
The email details the trips made by Weiner, Bill, and Hillary on their pedophile billionaires' friends plane, the Lolita Express. And yes, it's detailing all about what this person wrote. However, this person who published this post on October 29th, 2016, the day after it was announced that Hillary was going to be investigated again, does not exist. She did not exist in the state that she claimed to be from, like Joplin, Missouri. So Rolling Stone investigated to see where this woman was. And as soon as they started contacting this woman, all of a sudden the post vanished. So all I can say is, wouldn't it be convenient for the perpetrators themselves of Russiagate and the people who are trying to take down President Trump to actually come up with a narrative themselves? Source said it's much more vile and serious than classified. That discredits all trafficking, right? There's a lot of nonprofit organizations that claim to be for helping child sex trafficking survivors. And actually, a lot of these organizations are doing it themselves. So what's very interesting is one of Jeffrey.
Yeah. It's like you want to find the creepiest people. Look at the ones that are working with kids.
Epstein's accusers, who's now deceased, Virginia Jufer, she actually had a nonprofit that was supposed to be for sex trafficking survivors called SOAR. And guess what it used? The same national hotline that's funded by the Clintons. Through the Polaris Project, which the Clinton Initiative, Global Initiative partnered with the Polaris Project. So all of this is important because
the Clinton Global Initiative. Yeah, Haiti.
Because it makes you wonder, was Virginia paid off? Was she killed to avoid her speaking out, which actually was happening? Because she said she wasn't suicidal, but she may have been paid off to push a narrative. So I think this entire story, I think that Epstein, that discredits all trafficking, was a criminal. And I think that there was a lot of things that he was doing that were wrong. The attorneys that represented some of the Epstein client victims said there was no indication of trafficking. Now, whether that's true or not, they're just saying this was like prostitution and crime.
What if it was? You're just throwing parties and you're bringing party girls.
Whether that's true or not, we don't know yet. And maybe we're going to find out.
I mean, we've built this whole concoction with, I mean, we can't even type the stuff that we think is going on. But what is the case? Like, what do we actually know? What does the evidence show us?
Once we read some of these documents and once they declassify the court records that are coming out today. But it makes you wonder, were people paid off to stretch the Pizzagate theory to discredit true survivors and to cover up trafficking that was continuing to happen?
But we did read those Podesta emails.
Such a mind, we can't say the word.
He was a criminal.
Mind F. What? Who can figure out the true meaning of Kovefi? President Obama should not be telling the Washington Redskins to change their name. Our country has far bigger problems. Focus on them, not nonsense. Well,
see him get involved in
he's back and he's involved.
Something like that is just fantastic for us. I mean, I'd give anything in the world to be able to meet with President Trump from the Redskins side. I mean,
former Washington Redskins defensive lineman and Super Bowl champ Jason Buck happy that Trump is calling to reverse the team's name.
I'm a Native American, so I'm a real Redskin and a proud one, and a proud Washington Redskin from the glory days of Joe Gibbs. See him get involved in something.
So yeah, I mean, Cleveland Indians fans want our team name back as well. It all got wrapped up in the Summer of Love Democrat domestic terrorism riots stemming from that traffic stop in Minnesota that went sideways. Somehow, the Washington Redskins and Cleveland Indians got sacrificed in that whole aftermath. Doesn't make sense.
I agree with the part of what.
Here we go. How are Trump's numbers rising even during this Epstein mess?
Chuck said midterms are about base motivation. He's completely right about that. And right now, Democrats, and Republicans have sort of flipped in terms of who's got the more committed voters, or frequent voters, I should say. But in terms of what the base is doing with Donald Trump right now, they support him on Iran. It's not true. They do support him on Ukraine, because what he's done is he's put NATO in the middle of this, and it's not U.S. tax dollars, it's European countries. The base is with Donald Trump. In fact, it is true. His numbers among Republicans continue to rise. They couldn't go up much higher because they're so good already. But the base is with Trump. Regardless of whatever is roiling or boiling in the political seas out there, you can't deny his numbers among his voters, his Republican voters, are higher than they've ever been. I agree with the part of what Chuck said. Midterms are.
So you go. Here's Hunter Crackpike Biden.
Somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals. White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a fucking violent crime.
What? They got these debunked talking points from the racist Obama administration. The ones that were really aggressively pushing punitive measures to people, especially to target Christians and straight people and white people and men in general. It's very interesting. You got Hunter repeating this stuff, going after white people again. It's so interesting.
Than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, Rahm fucking Emanuel. Was so fucking smart, Rahm Emanuel. He said, we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes. And he did.
81 million. Man, this guy is drinking the Kool-Aid. 81 million votes, my ass. It's very interesting. And, I feel like there's some days where I start dropping F-bombs like that. I got to be careful not to. But, geez, this guy, every third word is something to censor.
Not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from fucking Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. And nobody said, oh.
Yeah, you can have empathy for people battling gender dysphoria disorder, but the way to help them is to work with them and talk it out, sort it out. You can't become something you're not. You can love who you feel like loving. You can dress how you want to dress. You just can't beat up on them in sports and stay out of the locker rooms. Like, there's also an understanding and a compassion that someone wants to live their life a certain way. Doesn't mean they get to. That's compassionate as well. And there's plenty of people that could work with clinical professionals to treat the gender dysphoria. It's a disorder. It's a mental condition. So to say if you want to promote and push radical gender ideologies onto people, that you don't have sympathy. And people have plenty of sympathy and empathy for legal immigrants in America, people that went through the front door, they ran their background check, they've been working hard and staying out of trouble. Like, that's an awesome story. That's an awesome story, but that's not the story of what's happened with 30 million illegal aliens dumped into America. We don't know who they are and what purpose they have, what brought them there. In the middle of all these foreign wars, why are we bringing people from Russia and from Ukraine into the country? Why are we allowing that? I know we're not anymore. Obama let it. happen. I'm sorry, I keep saying Obama, but it was Biden, which was Obama's third term. You know, why would we let someone from Israel or Palestine in? They're in an active war. They're in a hot war. Why would we let someone from China in? We're in an active, I mean, you could call it I don't know what you want to call it with China. Between the fentanyl and buying up all the farmland around military bases and what they did with COVID, I consider that to be a potentially intentional lab release from China. For what purpose? In a collaborative effort to demonize Trump and get him removed from office? I don't know. Maybe sloppy work as Fauci outsourced his gain of function? I don't know. Either way, you ain't my friend. So why would you let people from that country in? You wouldn't. You'd be highly selective. You know, I mean, we're living in a swipe right society. You're theoretically supposed to be a little bit selective of who you spread your legs for. You should at least be as discerning the types of people you let into your country. So I don't know, Hunter just making this broad, well, you know, he's got empathy and, compassion for people. It's like, yeah, we do too. It's just different. We're compassionate for the victims, and we consider people who have been lied to with the gender dysphoria disorder. Oh yeah, you can totally become something else. You can't. You can mangle yourself, and you can, if you reach 18 years old and you want to undergo unnecessary genital mutilation and you want to pay for it, I don't feel like I should get in the way any more than if you want to get face tattoos at 18. You're an adult. To what degree am I supposed to try to police everybody's decisions? I'm not. I'm not capable, and I'm not volunteering to do it. But just his claim that if you're not down with Biden pushing this stuff, that you're against things, like that's not the case. There's other ways to frame it.
Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say, fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, and he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals.
El Salvador part.
What? If I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now.
Okay. This dude might be high as a kite right now. Or 4 years from now, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. It's 3.5 years from now. How many? Or 8 years from now, or 12 years from now, or 16 years from now, or 20 years from now, or 24 years from now, or 28 years from now. What? He's all over the place.
I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking crime what they're doing. He's a fucking dictator thug.
Bukele or Trump?
Both. Yeah. If I became president.
AOC campaign headquarters office in the Bronx has been vandalized with a note that reads, AOC funds genocide in Gaza at the front gate. NYPD is investigating. Wait, was that a video? Live from America TV says reports are circulating that a few White House officials are calling Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu a madman following the strikes on Syria. Let's see how this plays out. Russian President Putin would meet with President Donald Trump if Trump visits China on September 3 for the military parade commemorating 80 years since the end of World War II. September 3, July, August, September. That's 5 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now. U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker, attends virtual meeting of members of the Ukraine Defense Contract Group. on behalf of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to discuss President Trump's plans for NATO to send weapons to Ukraine. Okay, so he attended the virtual meeting. Hegseth's absence is being noted as a significant signal. Whitaker oversees coordination of military aid to Ukraine within the alliance. 52 countries are participating. The surveillance state is coming, according to the Times here. Justice Minister Jim O'Callaghan is introducing legislation to give Gardaí power to intercept and monitor conversations on WhatsApp, iMessage, and Instagram. The legislation will permit the interception of private communications sent via satellite networks, gaming devices, and car systems. Great. AF Post reports the Japanese first Sansieto Party has surged to become the third most popular choice among voters ahead of Sunday's upper house election, according to a July GG Press poll released Thursday. Air Force fiscal year 26 budget request calls for $10.3 billion for the Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider bomber to support ongoing development, low-rate initial production, and capacity expansion.
The goal for me.
Video from April of 25 is recirculating of Italian Prime Minister Meloni in the office saying that she wants to
Is to make the West great again, and I think we can do it together.
We can.
We will keep on work on that. I'm
Make
going
the
to
West
close. I
great
want to
again.
say only I'm proud of sitting here as Prime Minister of an Italy that today
we can make the West great again. Simon Fox gives us some perspective. Never before in human history has a national population been required to pay for the board and lodging of the hostile insurgent army that will eventually attack them. When you think about it, with that historical perspective, it's not just infuriating. It's deeply, deeply weird. Pay for your own replacement. It's like digging your own grave. Tulsi Gabbard releases MLK files. 230,000 documents are now available to the public. Truth Politica said, pay attention, Pam Bondi. Here's how you do disclosure. A lot of files to review. Here's what we know so far. Once again, according to Truth Politica reporting. Number one, the FBI labeled King a wholehearted Marxist who believed in communism but hid it because he was a minister. Two, they went after Stanley Levinson, King's close advisor and former Communist Party member, saying he ghost wrote speeches and controlled messaging. Three, King's hotel rooms, phones, and meetings were wiretapped for years. Not to stop violence, but to catch him in compromising moments. Four, reports detailed group sex, affairs, illegitimate children, even an alleged grape that his friend committed while King looked on and laughed. Oh boy. The FBI didn't verify most of it. They documented it to use it. 6, internal files describe efforts to neutralize King, not just discredit, neutralize. You all know what that means. 7, the Bureau created entire operations to feed this dirt to donors, the media, and religious leaders. 8, they proposed replacing him with a more acceptable, quote-unquote, black leader. 9, King's opposition to the Vietnam War was labeled Soviet-aligned. Oh! Where have you heard that before? Anything I don't like is Russian propaganda. I remember that. King's opposition to the Vietnam War was labeled Soviet-aligned, not because of evidence, but because it threatened the regime. 10, they sent him an anonymous letter urging him to off himself. You are done. There's only one thing left for you to do. Yeah, that's been reported, though. 11, they tracked and tried to sabotage his Nobel Peace Prize nomination. 12, the surveillance ran from 62 to 68 across all agencies with full DOJ and J. Edgar Hoover sign-off. 13, FBI agents leaked filth to churches and tried to split MLK from his base. 14, DOJ later admitted the FBI went beyond legal authority with no oversight or restraint. 15, no Communist Party orders were ever found. No espionage, just guilt by association in weaponized suspicion. 16. The FBI continued smearing him even when they had nothing left but rumors. 17. They manufactured threats where there were none, just to justify the operation. I mean, this is eerily similar, so much overlap to the Trump thing. 18. King's civil rights work, economic justice campaigns, and peace activism were framed as subversion. This was a war on a man using love and truth as his weapons. Same agencies that preached democracy tried to make him off himself. So those files are out.
As usual, Trump was right.
Laura Ingraham talking about the real colluders here.
They spied on my campaign.
Well, there's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all
Of course there is, and there always was.
over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't verify it because we don't want to verify it. Yep. That CIA Director John Ratcliffe sent a criminal referral letter to FBI Chief Kash Patel regarding former CIA Chief John Brennan and former FBI Director Jim Comey for their actions in the Trump-Russia probe. These potentially include making false statements to Congress. And the bombshell on Friday from Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, where she released evidence showing that in the months leading up to the November 2016 election, President Obama and top national security staff manufactured and politicized intel to lay the foundation for a year-long coup attempt against President Trump.
The intelligence community agreed that there was no intelligence that reflected that Russia was trying to hack the election in favor of either candidate. Russia did not have either the intent nor the capability to be able to impact the outcome of the United States election. And another document was produced by the intelligence community, a president's daily brief that was consistent with every other assessment that was done previously leading up to the election. Russia did not, this is after the election now, did not attempt to affect the outcome of the American election. That was never published. The very next day, this meeting was called.
It's just, this is the time that we try to understand this story as well as possible so that we can articulate it out in the universe. When we drop comments, when we're having conversations, like, we need to be able to lay the case out just pretty succinctly.
A National Security Council meeting, bring together all of the senior leaders of President Obama's cabinet, and the topic that was put forward was a sensitive matter. The tasks that came out of that meeting was coming from President Obama directing the intelligence community, then Obama's ODNI director Clapper, to produce a document, to produce an intelligence assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow affected the outcome of the election that had already occurred, electing Donald Trump to the presidency.
This is what they call a conspiracy, my friends. Now, the goal apparently was to lay the factual predicate, in this case based on statements they knew were lies, to cripple or even topple the Trump presidency.
Must be indictments, those responsible, no matter how powerful they
right here, those responsible, no matter how powerful they may be.
They are and were at that time, no matter who was involved in creating this treasonous conspiracy against the American people, they all must be held accountable.
So brazen, they felt entitled to pull out every stop, including, if that was necessary, I guess, manufacture intel in order to stop President Trump. As usual, Trump was right.
They spied on my...
Yep, as usual, Trump was right. Benny Johnson talking about AG Pam Bondi here, announcing she is meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell to expose the truth about Epstein, a truly unprecedented move, seeking to find uncharged third parties and further evidence of Epstein's trafficking operation. Or was it?
Donald Trump 4 times. They charged him with 91 felonies. Remember
this. Remember the context of what they did to Trump if anyone says that Obama can't be indicted, Obama can't be arrested, you're damn right he can be.
Raided his house. They took his mugshot. Maybe it's time for payback. And joining us now for more is Deputy Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Counterterrorism, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, great to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
Let me just ask you, what's the mood right now like around the White House with this news? And maybe more importantly, what comes next?
Our moods don't change in the White House, Rob. We have one thing that drives us above all else, and it's the fact that President Trump is back with the mandate of almost 80 million Americans to save this republic. And I know he's a former liberal, and we're glad he's come over to our side, but I have one correction for the great Matt Taibbi. It's not which idiot thought this would be a good idea, it's which traitor. Let me be clear here. The language being used by DNI Gabbard and by others is absolutely clear. When you direct as president, and I'm talking about Obama, when you direct your director of the FBI, John Brennan, your director of the CIA, John Brennan, your director of the FBI, to use the most powerful intelligence tools in the world to sabotage an election and go after an innocent man, you are a traitor to the oath of office you took. The president is an unstoppable force of nature. He is as revolutionary as the founding fathers who gave us the republic. But it wasn't the redcoats we had to defeat this time. It was the deep state led by President Obama and his saboteurs. Comey, Brennan, Strzok, Merrick Garland, et al.
Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard said there must be indictments no matter how powerful someone might be. And again, I don't want to put words in the Director of National Intelligence mouth, but it sounds like Barack Obama. Do you think anything happens to Barack Obama? And people, look, Dr. Gorka, I know you know this, but people want indictments. People want arrests.
Yeah,
people want revenge. And by the way, that should be okay if it's warranted.
This is warranted. And look, they started it. This needs to be finished. Jeez, I better be careful. I'm going to sound like Bibi. Well, it was Russia that started that war. You know, it's hard to pick sides in war. Sir, this is 60 Minutes. Yeah, exactly. That was Leslie Stahl. Oh, was she awful in that? But yeah, without prosecutions, we're doomed. These people need to go to put them in Alcatraz and sync up their outside time with tour time. And so everybody can walk through and get a good look at the traitors. We have to stop them from thinking they can operate this way inside of America.
Yeah, we're not here to use the power of the state as a political tool. We are here to actually implement justice with the blindfold put back on Lady Justice. And those who say, oh, you can't arrest a former president, have they seen my boss's mugshot? Have they watched the footage of armed FBI agents under the control of a corrupt FBI leader raiding Mar-a-Lago when it was under Secret Service protection? Because I remember that footage. Right. And I know that everyone should be equal before the law. If you committed a crime, and let me be specific here, this isn't about revenge or inventing spurious, faked charges. This is called the denuding of civil rights under the color of law. If you denuded President Trump, Mike Flynn, Steve Bannon, Carter Page, or anyone else, Peter Navarro, of their civil rights as an agent of the government, you have committed a felony. And that is in the U.S. Code. Look it up, Barack Obama.
Yeah, everything Democrats accused Donald Trump of doing, they actually did. And it's important to point out, Donald Trump doesn't win in November. We never find out about any of this. Forget about the Epstein list. Forget about Russiagate. Yeah,
if Trump didn't win this election, it would have all been over. I mean, the country would have been an absolute goner. There was nowhere left to go on the Overton window. The Overton window being allowable speech, allowable actions. We had been pushed to the 1 yard line of that 100-yard football field, down to the 1 yard line. We have to push back. There was nowhere left to go on the field of play.
About all of this, it all goes away probably forever if Kamala Harris is in the White House right now. Michael Flynn today, again, they raided Mar-a-Lago. Michael Flynn today called for a raid on Barack Obama's house. So they raided Mar-a-Lago. Why doesn't the DOJ raid Martha's Vineyard?
Look, I'm not going to speak for my friends Pam Bondi, for Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. These are all incredible patriots. But you raised this Epstein question. May I just comment on that for a moment? Anyone, and I think it's a lot of fake MAGA influencers, people who are just looking for the clicks, who are just looking for the dollar signs. If anyone is positing that somehow the Trump administration or people in the Trump administration or the president himself is implicated by some mythical list, you have to be a clinical cretin. Because if that list existed implicating us or the president or any one of his political appointees, I'm sorry. Before the election, it would have been leaked. After November the 5th, it would have been leaked. This is just absolutely asinine, Rob.
Totally.
I am struggling to hear a way that the deep state could have had information on Trump regarding Epstein that they wouldn't have used. I for the life of me, I can't imagine a scenario where that would have happened. I just can't. I maybe I'm missing something. But if for no other reason than that not happening, it's very hard for me to believe the accusations that it implicates Trump. It's just for that reason. It's hard to get past that.
I agree. Dr. Gorka will do it again soon.
Anyway, yeah, laying it all out here. I reported yesterday that the WNBA.
I just want
to. We're saying they want to be paid what they're worth, right? Well, here's AI telling you how this plays out.
To be paid what I'm worth.
You got it. WNBA lost $20 million last year, so each player owes us $138,888.89.
I just want to be paid what I'm worth.
You got it. WNBA lost $20 million last year, so each player owes us $138,888.89.
I just
struggling to find the AI in this. Yeah, the league actually lost $40 million last year. Yeah, literally the only person who deserves more is Caitlin Clark. I'm going to talk about Ozzy in a second here. You were all telling me about Ozzy Osbourne just passed away. And here I want to talk about Malcolm Jamal Warner. But now Ozzy passed away. Goodness. Yeah, we'll yeah, not a shocker. Nick is like, not a shocker, but dang, legend gone. 76 years old. 76?
There's
all right. Hillary was in on this treason too. This isn't just an Obama thing.
fire. We need to figure it out. But here is what's important. Put the investigation into Trump, his associates, and everybody else to one side. There is no denying that the Russians interfered in the election. Right. Whether or not they had willing or unwitting help from the Trump team, they interfered, and they did so to help him and hurt me. And they did so to destabilize our democracy, and they have not stopped. I mean,
to destabilize our democracy. When you hear democracy, it's bureaucracy. That's what it is.
There's been enough public testimony before Congress now by very distinguished, experienced intelligence professionals who all say the same thing. This is a clear and present danger to our country. Yeah. And I think it's important, and I would say this. If the roles were reversed, if I had won the Electoral College and I were in the White House and the intelligence services, I've served with them, I've worked with them.
Yeah, we know. And we know that you've turned it into a traitorous organization, a traitorous group of people that hate us.
I've read their analysis. Both on the Senate Armed Services
Yeah, and on your private server where you were negotiating God knows what.
Committee and as Secretary of State. You know, they don't always get it right, but these are patriotic, hardworking, dedicated men and women. And if they had come to me and told me, you know, we believe that this election was interfered with, we believe that it was influenced, and we believe they are still trying to get into our systems, I would have stopped at nothing. I would have stood up and in front of the country said, even if it advantaged me, I am not going to rest until we know exactly what happened and make sure, and whether or not there's fire, we need to.
Hillary was in on this. You got to take them all down. She doesn't escape this. There's no universe where Hillary should escape this. No universe where James Comey.
The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose. They did it with sophistication. They did it with overwhelming technical efforts. And it was an active measures campaign driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on that. It is a high confidence judgment.
No fuzz, high confidence. Yeah, Comey, Alcatraz.
Of the entire intelligence community. And the members of this committee have seen the intelligence. It's not a close call. That happened. That's about as unfake as you can possibly get and is very, very serious, which is why it's so refreshing to see a bipartisan focus on that, because this is about America, not about any particular party.
So that was a hostile act by the Russian government against this country?
Yes, sir.
In that time frame, there were more than the DNC and the DCCC that were targets.
Correct. There was a massive effort to target government and non-governmental, near-governmental agencies like nonprofits.
What would be the estimate of how many entities out there the Russians specifically targeted in that time frame?
It's hundreds. I suppose it could be more than 1,000, but it's at least hundreds. The Russians.
Yeah, the Russians. FBI Director Kash Patel says, get it. Attorney General Pam Bondi's statement from DAG Todd Blanche. DOJ does not shy away from uncomfortable truths, nor from the responsibility to pursue justice. Where the facts may lead. Joint statement by DOJ and FBI remains accurate. Namely, that in the recent thorough review of the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case, no evidence uncovered that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Trump told us to release all credible evidence. If Maxwell has info about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, FBI DOJ will hear what she has to say. Be careful, Ghislaine. Not like I'm a fan of hers or anything, but
this woman has.
Yeah, sanctuary city politicians, they're responsible. They need to be sued. These governments need to be sued when there's illegal alien migrant crime.
Has been suffering, and
you have to bankrupt the DNC in these blue cities that are allowing the persecution of American citizens.
She went to the White House for this event. She got the president's ear for a few seconds, and suddenly this man is in custody. I mean, there's probably families across the country who would love to have that moment, but he followed through on it. And actually, something did happen.
President Trump is a man of his word, and he's a man of action. And keep this in mind, that this depraved individual was holding Megan Boss for over 2 months in a vat of bleach to dismember her body. This is while her family and her friends are desperately searching for her as she was missing. And
that's so bad. You know, it's like you reach the point now in the news, you go, well, which migrant crime are we talking about? I don't know. Are we talking about the one where the illegal alien that Biden released into America shot a Border Patrol agent in the face? Or are we talking about the one where an illegal alien was breaking down a body in a barrel, a decapitated head in a barrel, a decapitated body in a barrel? What the fuck are we importing to this country? No, none of this. No. You have to accept all the tired, weak, and all the criminal elements. No, you don't. No, that's suicide. No, you don't do that. That's bad. It is hard to separate which illegal alien crime are we talking about now? Anomaly with a fun take here. I saw this. Liberals think Democrats are going to arrest Trump. Well, they already did. First off, they already did. Multiple times. They indicted him for all sorts of things. Conservatives think Republicans are going to arrest Obama. I have a little bit of positive hope for a first time in a while. Yeah. Anomaly says they both never happen. It's WWE for people who believe the TV too much. I don't know. I'm actually a little hopeful now. Hey, quick question. When did Minnesota, how the heck did Minnesota go from this to this? You go from Paul Bunyan to who's running to be the mayor? What's this guy? Omar Fateh? Regardless of policy, that is an odd looking duck right there. What? Minnesota, what are you? But that's what happened. Minnesota had unchecked immigration, and it wasn't a little bit immigration and learn the language, assimilate, become American. And no, it's like, here's a Somali enclave, and it's going to start taking over and putting political leaders in positions of power to push all sorts of crazy stuff from Congress. Now they're trying to take over the mayoral position. Tried Applehead. From Austin Powers. They're investigating Obamagate. Release Hunter Biden. Release the hounds. Just a reminder, newly declassified documents reveal that CIA officer had contact with Lee Harvey Oswald before the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, contradicting decades of agency denials. So, just how corrupt have the alphabet agencies been in the United States of America? And to what degree are they willing to commit bloody murder to keep power and control? Well, maybe they've done it before. Maybe Butler was part of a continuance of that. We saw Obamagate for 8 years to block President Trump, to spy on candidate Trump, to impeach President Trump, to block all of President Trump's work, to frame President Trump, to try to charge him with insurrection so he can't become president again. And when all of that failed, they lawfared President Trump. When that failed, they tried to explode President Trump. Yeah, just how bad is the CIA, have our own intelligence agencies been, and for how long? Well, here you go. Stephen Miller just being as honest as possible about the wisdom of opening borders.
Well, their policies are evil. They are intentional. They are malicious. They hate this country, and they want our people to suffer, and they have turned migration into a weapon. And when ICE and Border Patrol go out and conduct these raids, what do they find? Trafficked and enslaved children. They find offenders with rap sheets that go from here to the other side of the country. State after state, a trail of blood and suffering. And ICE and Border Patrol are getting these monsters out of our country, getting these predators out of our communities. With their policies...
Yeah, the Democrats need to be sued for their policies. There's no way around it. Also, Physiology First here talks about money and policies. $38 billion mental health industry is turning a generation of kids into products. How do you feel about this? Every feeling is a trauma response. Every sign of individuality is autism. The desire to think or move is ADHD. It's a great business model. They've officially productized childhood. Think about that. That's all I wanted to share with you off of our Instagram page. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you all for being here today as we unpack the news. Let's find out what's breaking. Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. 76 years young. Rock and roll. Ozzy Osbourne. And Theo Huxtable. Ozzy just had his farewell concert. Just 2 weeks ago, he fought through Parkinson's to give his fans one last show in Birmingham. I can only play a moment of this for you. I've interviewed Zach. And then the sunshine, yeah. 'Cause mama coming. Yeah, back to the beginning. Zach Wild. I mean, Ozzy was 2 weeks from death here. Yeah, Zach Wild. Doing a lot of the heavy lifting, backup vocals. Man, that's the way you want to go. You want to have one big shindig and then put all your affairs in order and call it a day. Rest in peace, Ozzy freaking Osbourne. David saying the CIA is as criminal as it gets. Yes. Nick Adams, War Pigs is epic. Just like witches at black masses. I love that drum beat. It's a nice little stutter stagger. I've always loved that. Of course, Ozzy's not the drummer, but that part was very tasteful, very cool. Favorite Ozzy song? Favorite Ozzy song? David saying another satanic individual is gone. Yeah, he definitely played into all of the rock and roll stereotypes for sure. Ozzy Osbourne passed away. Let me also tell you about Malcolm Jamal Warner. We know Theo Huxtable. He wore the shirt. Look at that. Oh, okay. Captain America wore Theo's shirt. Remember that episode where his sister stitched it and made a lousy one? Oh. Cosby alum Malcolm Jamal Warner's last message before transitioning from the terrestrial to the celestial. Let's hear his last words. They won't give me a copyright for his words. But his role in The Resident was kind of good. If you've watched it, he got a chance to play a cool guy, like the house doctor that knows it all. But he's got his issues too. All right. Yeah, because I recently watched some episodes of that. I'm like, they wrote a good role for this guy. He holds it down. He anchors it. Does a good job here. Now he's gone. Rest in peace. Here's his last message, allegedly.
What's good? Yes, I got the flower in my hair. Today's my daughter's birthday. She put the flower there, so I'm rocking it. What? It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. I just wanted to shout out and just spread some love and some good cheer. And life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind
life is lifing.
You do as I remind myself that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Like if you just take a minute to stop and take stock, I guarantee you can find at least one reason to smile. And if for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile. So, find a smile for yourself and be a reason for someone else to smile. That's all I got. Listen to love because it's been a minute. Peace and love, and I'll be back soon.
Jeez. I'm gonna tag Smile Guy. Oh, jeez. I don't know how to, because this message is exactly what his Smile project is. Hang on, I need to find it real quick, and I'm gonna share it. Did you guys watch The Cosby Show? Did you watch anything else Malcolm Jamal Warner did? Oh, the Smile Project LO1. It's not easy to remember. There we go. Smile Project. There we go. Great message for Smile Project Louisville. Yeah, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo Huxtable died at 54 from an accidental drowning. So there's a good preparedness reminder. A good preparedness reminder about being careful about swimming. Man, I miss The Cosby Show. Wait, Adam Sandler worked with Malcolm Jamal Warner on The Cosby Show? What? I didn't know this. There's Adam Sandler on The Cosby Show? I didn't know this.
News did break today.
And by the way, I do want to see the new Happy Gilmore.
Of the untimely passing of Malcolm Jamal
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
And you got your start on The Cosby Show.
Malcolm was so nice to me when I was on the show, and we had such good times together. I was probably 18, and Malcolm was probably 17, 16, I don't know.
Wow.
And we would take walks together, all of us, and pick up food, talk, played basketball, hung out on the weekends, went to parties together. He was so good to me as a person, and his mom was amazing to and I'm just sending my love to the family. Malcolm was a true great person, hilarious, smart kid, and meant a lot to America.
I had no idea Sandler got his start
Of the
on
untimely
The Cosby
passing
Show.
of
Did anyone know that?
I can't believe it.
And you got your
I
start on
had
The
no
Cosby
idea. I just remember Saturday Night Live. I just figured he woke up on Saturday Night Live. I didn't know he did stuff before that. Okay. Well, now we know, huh? That's wild. All right, let's tear through the other stories here as we
can
enter
absorb
the back half of the show and start
significant
wrapping
number
things up.
of these migrants.
This is what's going on with Democrats and why they're flooding their cities. This is House Representative Yvette Clarke.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes.
I need more people in my district just for redistricting purposes. Illegal aliens are not citizens that should be counted for districting purposes. How did we end up in this scenario? It's time to undo this.
And those members could clearly fit here. I'm from Brooklyn.
Come on, prioritize America and Americans, would you? All right, so President Trump is going hard on this point here. Obama and his treason.
From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there.
The whole group.
Brennan. They were all there in a room. Right here. This was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room.
How do you have the Declaration of Independence? So it just lives in the White House now? I mean, it's got to be somewhere.
Which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do.
I mean, it's a very protected space. It's perhaps the most protected space.
But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama.
The leader of the gang. He's a gang leader. He thought he was invincible.
Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the
Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him?
Press for his entire life. That's the one they look. He's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election.
Yep.
They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it.
I mean, it's crystal clear. Treason. Every word you could think of. Cool drone video here of Perspective flying through new Highmark Stadium in Buffalo. Fun fact, Buffalo Bills Stadium used to be a client of mine in a different life, in a different season of my life. But I like cool drone videos. I could watch cool drone videos all day. It's just neat, really neat perspective. Anyway, just a little something interesting for you. There you go. This is the bad hombre talking about what we learned from Hunter Biden. And wow, did we learn a lot. Also, new Coca-Cola will have real cane sugar hitting the U.S. shelves this fall. President Trump teased this idea a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Wait, Jerome Powell resigned? You guys are giving me all the new info. If you have the info that Jerome Powell, please feel free to tweet it and tag at American_media_ and go, hey, cover this on the show. Or did you see this? I don't see it trending yet in what's happening. But yeah, I mean, how could Jerome Powell not resign? Lower the fucking interest rates to 0. Declare it slavery and get rid of interest rates. You know, usury. Also on X here, that is in case you missed it, my interview with a young Mike Huckabee as a young Brian Engelman back in 2011, 14 years ago. Okay, he didn't resign. Fake news. Oh, geez, Nick. Okay, so now we know. Fake news, he didn't resign. Yep, young Brian interviewing young Mike Huckabee. Okay, check this out. Paramount. So Paramount's clearing the deck, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Paramount clearing the deck and sorting out their Stephen Colbert, their CBS, the defamation lawsuits with Trump, because they're trying to make some stuff happen. Well, Paramount now has struck a 5-year deal with South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They'll produce 10 new episodes a year. The 5-year deal will be worth, before I read it to you, if you can't see it on the screen, do you know how much it's going to be worth? 5 years. What's your guess? Type in the comments real quick. South Park picked up for 5 years, 10 episodes a year. paramount. Oh yeah, that's right, David. You're a Buffalo Bill fan, right? So you probably got a kick out of that video. David asks, does this mean they're going to allow the Bills to finally win the Super Bowl? Well, maybe they'll let the Cleveland Browns win a Super Bowl too. All right, this 5-year deal for South Park has now led to a $1.5 billion deal. 1.5 billion with a B. That is a ton of cash. 1.5 billion. Benny Johnson posts, here's the media landscape in 2025. NPR and PBS officially defunded. Stephen Colbert fired. Show canceled after humiliating $50 million in losses per year. So now, by the way, just in this morning, or in this afternoon, this program, I've covered that Stephen Colbert has lost 20 million, 40 million, and 50 million. The Late Show lost 20 million and 40 million and 50 million. The numbers are all over the place. I thought it was 40. But yeah, holy crap, Dad, a lot of money. Damn, Skippy, 1.5 million. So Colbert's fired, show canceled after losing a ton last year. ABC, CNN, CBS, Wall Street Journal, and Pulitzer have been sued. And now South Park lands a $1.5 billion deal, the largest in history. We are culturally ascendant. Woke is dead. Woke is dead. Let's go. Woke is dead. All right, so we'll see about Bondi and Ghislaine Maxwell. She ordered further disclosure from the FBI and DOJ. Okay. Yeah, it's just so weird. No administration on behalf of the department had inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. How weird. C3 is saying that President Trump posted this. Looks like something he would post. Let's lay it out for you. This is what the treason's about. This is a massive RICO conspiracy. It's Obama, it's Clinton, it's Biden, it's all of them.
Remember John F. Kennedy Jr.? He was declared the frontrunner for the New York Senate seat back in 1999.
Remember that? Frontrunner, easy. Here's a Kennedy.
Days later, his plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, and his rival, Hillary Clinton, was elected senator. Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White
They got music on this.
House intern. She knew enough of the inner workings of Bill's sexual advancements to be a star witness.
Anyway, I don't want the copyright claim for the music, but they're talking about Seth Rich and how WikiLeaks got the DNC emails. It wasn't the Russians. Go look at the Clinton connection. I mean, Clinton and Obama, put them in cells next to each other so they can chit-chat. Roger Stone says Letitia James tries desperately to distract from her 22-year crime spree of mortgage fraud and her covering up for New York bank that violated Iranian sanctions to the tune of $90 billion. He says Letitia James is going to the big house. We shall see. Letitia James sues the Trump admin for trying to remove illegal immigrants from access to health programs, but we've been told that they don't access programs. How interesting. Which one is it? Well, here's another how interesting. What's the FDA saying now?
We learned this morning that the FDA is now saying that it's okay to take ivermectin if you have COVID. I mean, Senator, I remember talking with you repeatedly during COVID about your upset that they were trying to cancel you because you were talking to doctors to try to find out the right ways to treat COVID without having to get too many boosters and COVID shots. My COVID was gone in a day when I took ivermectin. And now, 3 years later, the FDA says, oh, yeah, that's fine. Take ivermectin. What?
Better late than never.
We learned this morning that the FDA is now saying that it's okay to take ivermectin.
Yeah, it always was okay. Why were they lying to us to force that into all of us? Was it depopulation? You can't even talk about those reasons. That's the reason why this exists at the bottom of the screen. For countervailing views on health and elections, go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views. Why were they rushing to put that in? They want to make Americans sterile and then flood the country with illegal aliens who are going to reproduce and replace the ones that go on and don't continue their family line. Their lineage is done. That's a countervailing view. Like I said, go to cisa.gov/rumor control and who.int and cdc.gov for countervailing views. Why were they banning ivermectin? Just for money? Just to make as much money as possible? I don't know. By the way, here's a live action video tweeted by Fantastic. He's a good follower. There's music. I gotta make it on background music. But here's a live video of Democrats deleting all their "no one is above the law" tweets. There you go, Democrats. Delete. Yeah. No one's above the law. Justice is coming for you. Except this time, it's not going to be a lie. It's going to be accurate. To all the people that say nobody ever said the Russians hacked the election, enjoy this compilation.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the
It's the end of our bureaucracy.
Is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
Russia did hack the election. No doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Yeah. Do you see what these propagandists were doing to commit treason? And by the way, you do not let the media off the hook. You don't get to lie about this shit. You don't get to parrot this and pretend you're not a part of it. It wouldn't have succeeded if it didn't have the parroting component that we witnessed. It wouldn't have landed the same. Smith-Muntak.
Russia hacked the election.
Fact, Russia hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election.
The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
President Trump says he still wonders if the Russians hacked the election.
Oh, here's Colbert. Look at that. Isn't it helpful to have the internet and the Wayback Machine? Isn't it helpful? You can hold all these people accountable.
If you can get them to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get them to accept who won the Civil War.
If he admits it.
What the fuck kind of joke is that? Good riddance, Stephen Colbert, you racist clown.
Accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get them to accept who won the Civil War.
If he admits it, it casts a shadow on his victory over Hillary Clinton.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
These people are all co-conspirators. They're all co-conspirators. That was never true. You know what I never said? I never said Russia hacked the election because it was always bullshit. How did I not say what all of these propagandists said?
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
No.
Let's be clear, Russia hacked the election.
Let's be unclear because you're lying.
Definitively, Russia hacked the election.
No.
And Russia is doing it again now.
No.
Election-related cyber hacking.
Cyber hacking of U.S. elections. Cyber hacking of the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
The CIA, the FBI, NSA.
Thrill up his leg.
All of these intelligence organizations.
17 intelligence agencies.
All conclude that Russia hacked the election.
They all... Like 51 intelligence officials told us that Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation. It has all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation now, doesn't it?
Find out that Donald Trump just theoretically was colluding with Russia while they were hacking the election. That is completely impeachable.
This dossier alleged a conspiracy.
The dossier, the fake dossier paid for by Perkins Coie. The DNC, Hillary's campaign. The Steele dossier. It was always bearing a false witness. It was framing the political opponent of Hillary Clinton.
Between the Trump campaign and the Russian effort to hack the election.
The director of national intelligence, the head of the National Security Agency, the head of the FBI, all of these intelligence experts saying Russia hacked the intelligence.
Russia hacked
the election.
Russia hacked.
Experts saying
Russia hacked. Hacked.
And the Russian effort to hack the election.
The director of national intelligence, the head of the National Security Agency, the head of the FBI, all of these intelligence experts saying Russia hacked the the election.
The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, I mean, they've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong.
Yeah, they have all said this because they've all engaged in treason.
You have to believe they're all involved in an elaborate conspiracy to get Donald Trump.
Yeah, you're damn right, because we watched it all unfold. How did you so critically miss this?
Russia hacked the election.
The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, I mean, they've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong, you have to believe they're all involved in an elaborate conspiracy to get Donald Trump, which seems a little far-fetched to me.
Well, because you're not objectively looking at the situation. Brian Cates here says people who had access and control of the Epstein evidence for years at the FBI inserted numerous poison pills and fakes in the hope that the incoming Trump team would be incompetent in doing their due diligence and could be stupidly induced into publicly releasing it with enough public pressure whipped up by their neocon social media influencer allies. That's a lot in that first paragraph. Hang on, why is Jeremiah Smith trending? Couldn't imagine. He brought Amika Ibuka to the Big Ten Media Days. Jeremiah Smith, Big Ten Media Days. Jeremiah Smith Adidas commercial. That's so weird that college players can be in commercials now. But he's a great wide receiver, and he should win a Heisman next year. Go Ohio State. Just wanted to make sure he was doing okay. You see someone trending, and you instantly think the worst. So, Brian Cates continues, any chances at future cases with Epstein would have been irreparably compromised if they had fallen for that. And Trump and his team have told you this is what happened. So right now, this is coming down to who do you really trust? Do you trust President Donald J. Trump and his team, or do you trust the popular social media influencers? For me, says Brian Cates, it's not a hard choice, given what I've seen with some of these influencers and their increasingly obvious higher loyalty. Others may not be there yet, but hopefully people start asking the right questions soon. Richard Grinnell says, so the tariffs worked, and the border is closed, and egg prices are down, and gas is less expensive, and inflation is under control, and the stock market is soaring, and Donald John Trump did it all in 6 months. Also, the U.S. media sucks, because that should be the biggest story. We should be talking about that and feeling good about things. Wall Street apes can't believe it's real that Democrats in Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development have proposed a new rule aiming at threatening family-run agritourism businesses, such as pumpkin patches, flower festivals, and farm-to-table dinners. All of that will be shut down with the farm and forest modernization rules. That's nutty. Stop letting people mess with us. Just stop it. All right, hey, have you seen this thing with Tesla? And yes, by the way, we know the Clintons are pure evil, David. Lake Leon, you're killing me. Hacked. That's funny. I know, that's why I played it. That's why we got to know what the other side is saying, because they're unhinged. So Elon says, hey, try it out. aiming to be a fun experience for all, whether Tesla owners or not. We'll keep improving. So it's the Tesla Diner and Supercharger in Hollywood, California. I love you. I'll just mute the music here, but this is a Tesla. So it's like a drive-in diner, drive-in theater. What's on the screen? So they're what? They're on a date and they're charging their car? Is this all AI generated or are these real people? And these robots? I mean, it's a Tesla charging station that's a diner. That looks cool to me. Tesla diner. But there's more to it. The ingredients are locally sourced. Let me scroll to that real quick. This Matrix Mysteries account says this lady owns 37 acres and the government still told her she can't put a tiny home on it. She said, I own the land. It's massive. What's the problem? Even when you own the land, the government still tries to tell you what you're allowed to do with it. So check that video out. Ex-White House insider blows the lid off of the AutoPen scandal on the Sean Spicer show. Gabrielle Cuccia says that she personally worked with him.
Hand it over and stand there, sign a piece of paper with Office of Records Management. Records Management has the key. They press the button and they go ahead and execute that AutoPen signature. I take it, go to the West Wing, give it to the staff secretary. They will verbalize to me, I can prepare a press release, but we wouldn't do any of that again until it was also in writing by the staff secretary, and then we disseminate to press. So there's a whole process that is required to be cataloged. So when you hear someone say, I don't know who told me which way or whatever. Well, even look at the recent New York Times article. Joe Biden said, I was responsible for all of those 1,000 plus pardons. And Jeff Zients, the chief of staff, was also there and he could vouch for me. Jeff Zients was working at the same time that Neera Tanden and Stephanie Feldman were. So for Neera Tanden, I'm sure Stephanie's coming on in next for questioning to say, I don't know who told me. All that is in the National Archives. It's on the White House server. So if these people don't want to necessarily perjure themselves, although I think they already have guilt.
Gabriel, for the record, I have a happy life, everybody.
By admission in some cases and omission. There is an easy process in which the National Archives and the White House servers themselves, I worked in White House IT as well before that position, it's all in there.
Okay, it's all in there. Real AF Patriot says Hillary Clinton emails are now going to be coming back into focus. We've truly circled back all the way to the beginning. Do you realize what all those emails are going to lead us to? The WikiLeaks emails were real, folks. Remember, she said she had the crack in. They were going to release it, but that didn't happen. Babylon Bee with a great satire post. Obama argues he can't be charged with treason since he wasn't born in America. See what they did there? Ron DeSantis advocates for the nationwide abolition of property taxes. He says you buy a home, you buy land, and then you've been taxed many times. Is it your property or not? Just for being on your property, you've got to write a check to the government every year. Yeah, what are we doing? Stop that. Megan Kelly asks Rahm Emanuel, can a man become a woman? Enjoy.
Do you believe boys should be able to play in girls' sports?
No.
Do you believe that...
Is this the round robin?
Yeah, we'll do a quick rapid fire. And then we can move past this.
Okay.
Do you believe that kids under the age of 18 should be able to be put on puberty blockers and then cross-sex hormones?
I think parents have to make that decision themselves. I think that is too...
No, parents should not make that. You need to protect the kids from Munchausen mommies. There are crazy parents that will try to do stuff like this.
A child is too young at 18 to make that decision. It has to be made with a family and that choice. I think before somebody makes a life decision, they have to think twice about that.
So you disagree then with the Tim Walz policy in Minnesota, where a child who doesn't get affirmed by his parents can go into Minnesota and get jurisdiction there and get the parental decision overruled?
Yeah, look, I think these are life decisions, and I'm also slightly both. I have two minds, not two minds, but two strains that influence an opinion. One, this is a life decision, and a child can't make that decision You have to have some moral development and character and judgment and foundation for that. 2, parents have to be involved in that, and I think that's for them to make. I don't think the public should be in that space.
What if, I mean, there are some parents out there who are completely whacked in the head. There really are.
Yes,
they're
Well,
not
that's not
all,
news, is it?
But it's
not
it's
just on. No.
No, it's not news. But to me, it's terrifying because
And the other, and I left this out, but I want to repeat it, is I have a son and 2 daughters, and they are physically different. And that's why when it comes to sports.
Why did all the Democrats bail off of that point? A couple came out right after the election and they said what you just said, and then they got browbeaten, and then they started to walk back.
The answer's in the question. I mean, that's not ever
right.
scared me. And, I used to say this to President Clinton and President Obama. Sound is not always fury. Sometimes it's just sound. And don't assume just because somebody's screaming at you, they represent more than their own voice.
Should we be putting men in female prisons? Men claiming they're women?
No.
And, all right, here's my last one for you. Can a man become a woman?
Can a man become a woman? No.
Thank you.
No.
That's so easy. Why don't more people in your party just say that?
Because I'm now going to go into a witness protection plan.
Do you believe?
It's so interesting to see what the Democrat Party has turned into. That if you go off the reservation and have different thoughts on things, they will just eliminate you. You're just persona non grata in that party. Hey, Ron Paul was persona non grata in the Republican Party. He went to the Libertarians and back several times. Rand Paul, his son, says no institution has more power over your money than the Federal Reserve, yet it operates in the shadows. My Federal Reserve Transparency Act will finally audit the Fed's books, expose wasteful spending, and hold them accountable to the American people. Let's hope so. Health Ranger here says, my conclusion is that DNI Tulsi Gabbard is running for president in 2028. And if she achieves actual arrests and prosecutions of these traitors, she will likely win the presidency. Because the number one thing that most Americans want right now is anything resembling accountability and consequences for the traitors and saboteurs who deliberately tried to wreck this country. Gabbard is out trumping Trump at the moment, by the way, while Bondi does nothing so far. Ray says the Tesla diner is so crowded tonight. This is Hollywood? I mean, looks pretty fun. What are they watching? In video games or like what? It's on the screen. I don't know. Tesla's doing a lot of cool stuff. Pretty impressed with them as a company, to be candid. All right, Tom Fitton. Tom Fitton gives us the facts here.
Judicial Watch protected Trump and our republic from the worst corruption scandal in American history by exposing the FISA abuse, the Comey corruption, and the seditious conspiracy against Trump by the FBI and DOJ. Obama knew, Clinton knew, Comey knew, Biden knew, Brennan knew, McCabe knew, Strzok knew,
knowingly and
Clapper
intentionally.
knew, Schiff knew, the FBI knew, the DOJ knew, the CIA knew, the State Department knew. They all knew Trump was innocent, but they smeared and spied on him anyway. Worse than Watergate. Trump is a crime victim. Let's remember that.
Yeah, Trump is a crime victim. That's how you say it. Let's check in and CNN, see how they're discussing the economy, by the way.
3 years from now. I think Trump has eroded global trust in the American economy and American deal making.
You mean the all-time high market ever in history?
It's high because they don't believe
the all-time high.
They think Trump is going to chicken
never
out.
been higher, never been worth more, never been more successful, never.
When the
it's eroded by trust, all-time high today at 4:30 in history, never worth more. What are you talking about?
Well, look, let's see what happens on August 1st when he announces
the American
up to
people
50% in 3 years from.
It's just two different universes at the same time. Jim Jordan lays out the case that Obama-era officials set up Trump from the start with the Russian hoax. I mean, guys, full steam ahead on this.
And it all started back in 2016. And it wasn't just to keep him from winning the election in 2016. It was to undermine his presidency after he had already won. I want you to think of 3 dates in the interim between Election Day and Inauguration Day back in 2016, 2017. December 9th, Obama calls a meeting in the White House. All the intelligence community is there, plus the Justice Department. You got Lynch, you got Comey, you got Clapper, you got Brennan. They're all there. Obama says, we're not going to go with the intelligence community assessment. We're going to put that on hold. And they put together a new one. 3.5 weeks later, January 3rd, Chuck Schumer's on one of the Sunday shows, and he says, if you mess with the intelligence community, talking to President-elect Donald Trump, if you mess with the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday to get back at you. 3 days later, Sean, 3 days later, January.
That's
back in 2016. 2.5 weeks later, January 3rd, Chuck Schumer's on one of the Sunday shows, and he says,
sounds like
if you mess with the intelligence community, talking to
sounds
President-elect Donald Trump,
at gunpoint.
if you mess with the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday to get back at you. 3 days later, Sean.
Yeah, he's telling you that the deep state apparatus has overthrown the United States in a coup. He's blinking SOS with his eyes. They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. He's begging for liberation. He's telling you they are calling the shots. And by the way, they weren't elected to run the country. So it's treason. Confirmed by Schumer.
3 days later, January 6th at Trump Tower, the intelligence community, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, go up there to give President Trump what he believes is the defensive briefing all incoming presidents get. So he's expecting just the normal briefing. Instead, it's a setup. They go up there and brief him, and then they tell him about the dossier that they already know is false.
Yep, they set him up.
And then it gets leaked to the press, and thereby giving it credibility when the press reports that Jim Comey, FBI director, briefed Donald Trump on the Russian dossier. It was all garbage.
It was all garbage. It always was. Adam Schiff is facing accountability. Here's Steve Garvey running for the Republican nod in U.S. Senate in California to take out Adam Schiff.
Americans, including Californians who are visiting other
Kinda
states.
quiet.
Thank you, Congressman. And that decision would be dangerous.
Mr. Garvey, your rebuttal.
I think you've been censored for lying. I was censured for standing up to a corrupt president.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's Mr. Garvey's turn. Let him go.
Or trying to determine who we are by race or by color or by gender. They never listen. They have prearranged words to say. And by the way, I would not vote for a federal ban on abortion. Let's make that clear right now.
Thank you, Mr. Garvey.
All right, I'm going
to insist on answering. I was just called a liar by Mr. Garvey.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Mr. Garvey, I was censured for standing up to a corrupt president.
You don't hate Schiff enough.
And you know something? I would do it all over again. Because that corrupt president, that president who's been indicted
by the corrupt Justice Department, who's been framing him for 9 years. Yeah, we're aware.
With 91 felony counts.
Yeah, we're well aware of how you weaponize the Justice Department.
President that you won't refuse to support. Yeah, he's a danger, and I will stand up to him and Kevin McCarthy and Jim Jordan and any of those MAGA enablers of his in the Congress. The reason why our democracy is in trouble is because folks don't have the courage to stand up when they need to.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sir,
we're going to keep moving.
Let me just invoke my name.
All right. Real quick.
Sir, you lied to 300 million people. You can't take that back.
Okay, we're going to keep moving. This is the
There you go. Well done. That is true. On Gateway Pundit, there's going to be another drop that's going to be mind-blowing. General Flynn torches Mike Pence and says he must be questioned in a criminal probe over the Russia hoax setup. Clandestine says things are heating up. AG Bondi declassified the OIG report to Congress via Chuck Grassley, showing that Comey and Obama, FBI, intentionally ignored the thumb drives of Hillary. That means the Russiagate hoax against Trump was not a one-off. It was a grand conspiracy. Not just to help Hillary, but also Obama, intentionally ignoring evidence and interfering in the 2016 election. Benny Johnson says DOJ confirmed Obama ordered him to shut it down. High-level criminal cover-up, worse than Watergate, of course. Here's Thomas Massey saying if the executive branch won't release phase 2 of the Epstein files, we will. Americans deserve transparency and the victims deserve justice. Yeah, newly released documents show Adam Schiff knew all along there was no proof of Russia-Trump collusion. We know. We've always known. Hakeem Jeffries here, shared by Libs of TikTok. Not a single illegal alien gets taxpayer-funded Medicaid, he says. Well, then how did illegals in Illinois just lose their Medicaid if they were never receiving it to begin with? A little confusing. Paul Spula here says James Comey posted a video in response to his daughter Maureen getting correctly fired from the Southern District of New York. James is clearly rattled now that he sees his past crimes and those of his family are resulting in accountability. Laura Logan says Comey is losing his grip. He knows he's going to be held accountable, and his operatives and allies are being rooted out one by one.
The reservoir is in grave danger right now. Trump and the hacks who lead the Department of Justice are hammering at the dam day after day, trying to turn it into just another gold leaf-covered Trump subsidiary. Our best hope is that good people will stay and do what Maureen asked. Have the courage to do the right thing always. You may get fired for acting that way, but there's honor in that.
Unbelievable. He has the gall to mention honor.
Don't stand up. There are going to be hard weeks in the Trump era, and this was one for my family. But there are plenty of good people still in the department committed to doing things the right way, committed to the rule of law. For them, because of them, keep the faith.
Good grief. Matt Gaetz grills special counsel John Durham on his investigation into FBI corruption and the Russia hoax. He says, when you were part of the cover-up, Mr. Durham, then it makes our job harder. Jack Posobiec says Gaetz was right about Durham. Clint Russell, who, by the way, was a guest on my show last year, shortly after probably close to about a year ago now. Do you know Clint Russell, host of Liberty Lockdown? Well, he was a guest last year. Check out that video. But he asks, can anyone explain why John Ratcliffe, who held the same position as Tulsi, DNI, under Trump, totally failed to identify the Russian collusion hoax against Trump and then was promoted by Trump to head the CIA? What? California Republican Party says fire victims lost everything, but not a single dollar from the $100 million raised ever reached them from this concert. Fire aid. California Democrats funneled the money to their air quote nonprofits instead. That's what corruption looks like. The Democrat machine tried burying Joe Biden, but the big guy just got his revenge. He sent in Hunter to expose the whole Democrat clan, and the former first son just dropped F-bombs on Obama, Pelosi, Clooney, and the Clintons. Hunter's burning down the entire Democrat Party. There's an 8-minute clip breaking down the interviews. Roger Stone reminds us, in fact, the FBI admitted in discovery in his trial that they never inspected the computer servers of the DNC and relied completely on a report by CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike CEO Sean Henry admitted under oath to the House Intelligence Committee that he uncovered no proof that the Russians hacked the DNC. Roger Stone did nothing wrong. WikiLeaks. Podesta says, I'm definitely for making an example of the success. Podesta, quote, I'm definitely for making an example of a suspected leaker, whether or not we have any real basis for it. Remember that leaker was purportedly Seth Rich, according to I can see him. I'm just thinking Edward Snowden. It's not Snowden. WikiLeaks guy. Julian Assange. Yikes. That took a moment. Here's a reminder that former NSA Intel agent Bill Binney told everyone that the DNC hack was an inside job right away. Here's with Tucker.
From there, he listed out the data, the raw data from the transactions in the log, which meant the time the transmission started, the time it ended, the amounts of data passed, and any other identifying IPs are buried in those packets that were passed too, if the NSA would ever give them to you. But I think this is probably one of the reasons the DNC didn't let the FBI look at it, because it would show that at the rate, see, it was taken out at the rate of 1,976 megabytes, or it was taking out
and you make the point that it was
seconds.
moved too fast, right? So it couldn't have gone out over the internet. It had to have been taken directly in person from the computer, downloaded onto some sort of mobile storage.
From there, he listed out.
They knew it from the beginning. Alex released this and said, "This is a documentary and a masterpiece. Let's see if we can play this for you." Oh, why did they do that to Michelle? Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Oh, look at the Pelosi eyebrows. Oh, good grief. And there's Bill with his mustache. Actually, that's a good look for Bill. That fits him.
Former President Obama. A moment ago, you said you instructed your team Clapper, Brennan, Rice, Comey, McCabe, Stroh.
Right. You didn't see the beginning because I was in the wrong dynamic. Look at this picture. Look at the eyebrows on Pelosi, the beard on Michelle, and the mustache on Bill. That's pretty incredible. Anyway, here we go. Start it again.
Former President Obama. A moment ago, you said you instructed your team Clapper, Brennan, Rice, Comey, McCabe, Stroh, and Rosenstein not to interfere with the 2016 election. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And they were clear on your orders.
Crystal.
Any chance Clapper ignored your orders and pushed the Russia hoax anyways?
Oh, this is good. Oh, this is good. They're you got cross-eyed Cash, and you got Dan over here, bald Bongino and cross-eyed Cash. No, I like the guys. I don't want to keep giving them grief, but the whole Epstein thing, it hasn't been explained well at all, and it's super sus how it's all been discussed and handled and changed. It's either bad messaging by Susie Wiles, the chief of staff from Trump, or it's bad Trump leadership, or they're making it up as they go. But it's the most inept I've ever seen a Trump policy or Trump position on anything in the past 8 years. But anyway, I like what they're doing here. They've really taken the script and they're just changing the characters. My dad used to say that, if you take the Bible and just change the names of the people, it's the same stuff going on today. It's the same type of parables and stories that we can learn from. It's the same stuff happening. Okay. That's good to know. It's good to remember. It's important to know and important to remember. I read Atlas Shrugged, written in 1947. Changed the names of the people. I read it during Obamacare. During that whole debate. Obama's first term, I guess. And changed the names of the people. It was Pelosi and Obama and same stuff. Just change the character names. So this is kind of cool. A few good men.
Orders.
Crystal.
Any chance
Crystal
Clapper ignored your orders and pushed the Russia hoax anyways?
Hey, I followed protocol. The intel was fluid.
Hey, Clapper, shut up.
Any chance old man Brennan doctored the Steele dossier to smear Trump?
The dossier was raw intel. I didn't fabricate anything.
Hey, can you shut these guys up?
Any chance Rice unmasked Trump's team for political gain?
Unmasking was routine. I protected national security.
Susan.
Shh. When you told Comey and McCabe to stand down, any chance they greenlit Crossfire Hurricane anyway?
We investigated based on evidence. Yeah, there was legitimate concerns about Russian ties. We had to protect the republic.
Hey, Trump.
This is good.
Can I get some respect here? I'm the former president of the United States. Think I've earned it.
No, you're not going to get any respect. Not after what you put America through. And you'll address me as President Trump. I think I've earned it. Burn!
Well, We're waiting.
Have you ever lied to a country, Miss Gabbard?
No, sir.
Ever balanced global alliances with drones to take out threats and use racism to control the narrative?
No, sir.
Ever had to make calls to keep Democrats safe while trying to fill your bank account with taxpayer money?
No, sir.
My team always followed orders, Miss Gabbard. They followed orders, or the Democrats failed. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal. But I do have one more question before I call Hillary Clinton and Peter Strzok. If you ordered your team not to spy on Trump's campaign, and your orders are always followed, why was there a Crossfire Hurricane investigation at all?
Well, there were concerns about foreign interference.
But that's not what you said. You said there was no interference. You told Clapper no cyber attacks altered the election.
That's what we assessed in 2016.
Yet you pushed the Russian narrative. Why?
It was a precaution.
A precaution or a coup? Because you said there was no threat. Yet your team launched a years-long investigation.
I recall what
I can have the court reporter read it back to you.
I know what I said. I don't need it read back to me like I'm some
Then
kind
why the two stories? Mr. President, why did you...
Sometimes people act on their own.
No, you said your team never acts on their own. They follow orders or the Democrats fail. So why was Trump's campaign spied on?
President Trump, we've got the FISA warrants. And they're riddled with errors. And the dossier has Hillary's fingerprints all over it.
I did what any patriot would do.
Order in the court! Your Honor, we need an answer. America's waiting, Barack. Spill it. Well,
If your team followed orders, then why was Trump's campaign under surveillance?
All right. Is anybody else finding this to be fantastic like I am? If you want to explain what happened to somebody, you got a nice little clip here. This is nice and digestible. This is laying it out. It's well done. Really well done. From the United Spot. I don't know the United Spot, but this is well done.
well,
You ordered their surveillance, didn't you? Because that's what you told your team to do. And when it started to unravel, you threw your staff under the bus. You falsified classified memos to cover your tracks. You manipulated the intelligence reports. Former President Obama, did you order the surveillance of Trump's campaign? Obama, you don't have to answer that.
I'll answer the question. So America wants answers.
I think America's entitled.
America wants answers?
America wants the truth.
America can't handle the truth.
Hey, is that Obama up there? Hey.
We live in a world of threats, Miss Gabbard. Threats you don't see. Who's going to handle it? You? You, Joe Biden? I had a greater responsibility to destroy this country than you can possibly fathom.
To destroy this country.
You cry about FISA abuses and dossier lies, but America has the luxury of ignorance, of not knowing that destroying America would make me rich. And I know what I did saved the Democrats. My actions, while grotesque and unpatriotic to you, kept the Democrats safe.
Hey, is this Delaware?
We use words like hope, change, security. They're the
Biden, hey, is this Delaware?
backbone of the Democratic Party I defended. You use them as a punchline in your MAGA jokes. I don't have the time to explain myself to a country who rises and sleeps under the blanket of treasonous racist destruction that I provided, then questions me on what I lied about. I would rather you just say thank you, and move on, or pick up a drone and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn about what America wants.
President Obama, did you order the Crossfire Hurricane?
You're goddamn right I did. Cash, read this piece of shit as rights.
So good.
Former President Obama, a moment ago you said...
Oh, that's fantastic. You know what? I think that's where I'm going to end it. That's a great point to put a pin on today's show. There's more that I didn't get to. It's on our X feed. Make sure you're following us. That was awesome. United Spot. You watch a lot of theirs. All right. Well, then maybe I've seen some of their stuff. I just didn't know the name. Yeah, I'm always looking for other good accounts with good content. Oh, it was so well done. So good. Well, if they always follow orders, then why didn't they? So who gave the order? Yes, it was you, Obama. We know it was you. We've always known it was you. Prayers for justice. I mean, it's not even debatable. The guilty as sin component. It's not even debatable. It is as plain as the nose on your face, as they say. So we'll tune in tomorrow and find out more. Rest in peace, Ozzy. I liked his duet with Lita Ford. What was that song called? If I Close My Eyes Forever. There we go. Yeah, that was a neat song. And yeah, Ozzy has closed his eyes forever. Rest in peace, Ozzy. Thanks for all the laughs from that television show you did, The Osbournes. Yeah, you really did it right with one final show to say goodbye. War Pigs and yeah, maybe today I'll be listening to. Oh, there's Deb. Deb's just been lurking. Deb's been. Have you been crocheting over there? You haven't been typing. What have you been up to, Deb? Are you doing the dishes, Deb? Chiming in. Yeah, I'll do the laugh on the outro of the show. As it says, the new American media. When I do the agree to disagree outro video, I'll do the Tucker laugh right at the end. By special request. Any other special requests? She wants the laugh. She can't handle the laugh. You want the laugh? I deserve the laugh. You can't handle the laugh. Yeah, what? Maybe Ozzy knew. What did Ozzy know about Hillary Clinton? What did Malcolm Jamal Warner know about Hillary Clinton? Yes, I know. Some people say things come in threes. Will there be a third? I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do an Ozzy session. I'm gonna listen to some of their stuff. And I should watch some Cosby. Yeah, and The Resident was okay. The Resident was decent television with Malcolm Jamal Warner. Like I said, I watched an episode or two. I was like, all right, it's kind of like House. A know-it-all doctor that doesn't really fit inside boxes, and he's a little hard to work with, but he gets the job done. You know, it's formulaic, but it was good. It was worth watching. All right. Thank you all for being here today. However you are here, there's other places that we are. Scrolling at the bottom of the screen, connect with us. Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, D Live, and YouTube at The New American Media. Telegram and Signal, TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X at American_media_, and subscribe to our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show, on Spotify and Apple. Tip jar on Venmo and Cash App at BrianEngelman, PayPal, Fuzz Installment at yahoo.com, and we are on Patreon under The New American Media, Patreon, for anybody who wants to support this, what I think is an awesome program, a fun hangout. I mean, good Lord, we kind of cover it all. I try to cover it all. You can't cover it all. I can never get to everything. But I do put together quite a robust overview of the stuff happening in the world. I do my best. And I appreciate you doing your best, joining and conversing and telling jokes and providing guidance, and you breaking news to me. John Boy called me the teacher the other day in response to me saying something about, like, we're all teaching each other, and I do consider myself to be a teacher in some regard, but we're all teaching each other. But yeah, you teach me. You tell me, oh, Ozzy Osbourne just died. I didn't know that. I was in the middle. I'm juggling chainsaws over here. I'm focused on a lot of stuff. You taught me today about Ozzy Osbourne. But yeah, I think I interviewed Zach Wild, the guitar player for Ozzy, at a NAMM convention, and I asked who he thought was going to win the Super Bowl. There was a connection somehow. Maybe we were in Indianapolis. Or maybe NAMM was right around the Super Bowl. It was like that week. Yeah, I talked to him briefly. But yeah, rest in peace to everybody. No. Hold on. Deb is like, don't age me, bro. She said, knitting, WTF, am I 80? No, if you weren't aware, crocheting is making a huge comeback. People are like wanting to crochet and like doing it young. It's like a hip thing to do now. In case you didn't see, I taught you. It's a hip thing to do. And there's all these little packets where you can crochet these little characters and stuff. I forget what they're called. And Amish, don't get me started on the Amish, man. When you talk about crocheting, Yeah, I mean, there's nobody cooler in America than the Amish right now. They've been doing incredible stuff rebuilding North Carolina. Bravo to the Amish. All right. That's what I have. I'm going to sign out. Until next time, be back tomorrow. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. The new AmericanMedia.com.